Woohoo! We're live. We're live. We're talking.
Hello.
It's more like man are speaking. I don't think I've actually had a stream with another man on here. It's not. It's been me and a lady. Me and a lady. Now that's fine because I talk with ladies, proper ladies.
Yes.
I am not trying to milk the internet's outrage of women, and it's like a sideshow, like the whatever podcasts and the Fresh and Fits. It's like a fucking. No, you know what? It's Jerry Springer. That's what it is. It's just Jerry Springer. It's just Jerry Springer.
Ladies who are not brain dead and have more than 2 brain cells.
Oh, well, I learn a lot, right? And I like it when people push back. So in a weird way, I kind of like argumentative women, but there's a certain good type of argumentative, and there's a not so good. Now, a good argumentative.
I'm not so good at arguing, but I try.
Well, the difference is this: the only difference between a bad argumentative person and a good argumentative person is honesty. That's it.
Yeah.
Honesty. The what I've been seeing, I'll have to make a document of this at some point. This applies to modern women and communists in terms of rhetorical style. They will do like minimizing, deflection. They actually have like a flow chart they go through, like without fail. It's like a flow chart.
Really?
Yeah. So they don't actually they don't establish a definitive point. Okay, that's the first thing they do because then they can move around it.
Yeah.
Right. So right now I'm basically just agitating. Like I'm waiting for my code to compile, or I'm on the commode, and I'm just like stirring the pot. Mostly because I like to study how people argue. And they will. So right now the whole issue is the body count thing, and ladies are very sensitive to that. First off, I will say that no man should ask. No man should ever ask. I never asked my wife. Like I just kind of knew. Us guys can tell. Okay, we can tell if it's a lot. We can tell if it's like giga D levels. we could tell if it was. We could tell if it was a phase. We could tell if it was a while ago. We could tell if it was last weekend. We can tell if it was because of love. We can tell it was because you wanted attention. We can tell everything. Like guys aren't actually that stupid. We believe it or not, men do have some instincts that allow us to partner select. Because it's not just all right. A little bit of genetics, right? Let's run a scenario. Yeah. Okay. Let's say I've got Chad and you've got Stacy. And Stacy's super toxic. This one's Stacy. Okay. Stacy's Chad wins when his genetic line propagates. Yes. So any Stacy will do, right?
Yep. As long as she reproduces.
As long as she reproduces and doesn't pass on major flaws to the child. Right? Because
if there's any like diseases or anything, then that gets handed down. That's not good either.
That's true. And that includes mental disorders. Like right now, the majority of the kids who are doing the gender thing have a mom with major depressive disorder. Like it's just an outlet for the smothering mother archetype exists for a reason because men want to avoid that. It turns out men don't just, go for any lady, right? We don't float freely, and we actually do care about our children. Yeah, I know, right?
Hope so.
Flash 11. We do. So it's like if you have a horrible, crone witch, like in training, like young witch, it kind of scares us a little bit. Makes us a little bit. So is the. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, the evil queen archetype is kind of there for a reason.
It is.
It is. And all the fairy tales, it's always the evil, wicked stepmother or the evil queen who is jealous of the young girl's beauty.
It is. And the thing is, men's body count does matter, but it's a different kind of body count, right? So, because if a guy sleeps with a really a woman who was not what people would typically like, okay, let's say she's got some traits. Let's say she's a little bigger. Maybe she's got something weird about her, right? Let's say she's super hairy. I don't know. She's like a dwarf woman. Okay, you're an elven man. You're from Lothlorien, and then there's this like dwarf girl, and you've had a couple too many Bugman's ales. Sorry, I'm mixing my lores, but anyways, and you go over and you bed the dwarf woman. You're gonna hear about it. That body count makes a big difference because you're never gonna lay it. You're never gonna live that down.
Let it down.
Never live it down. Never live it down. And as a man who was attracted to women who are not traditionally attractive, I got a lot of that crap. Right? Mm-hmm. I cared about kindness, like a lady who makes me dinner. Like I'm the big fat guy from Mulan. I'm the fat soldier. Like I don't care how she looks. I care how she cooks.
Like I mean, pork and chicken.
Yeah, man.
I remember that song.
True. Yeah, well, I don't remember it as well as you do, but Mulan was great. Mulan is a proper female hero story because she was upholding her family values and tradition, and she did a very masculine thing, which was she treated her dad like she would treat her child, self-sacrifice, right? She's going to take one for the team, and it's inverted and weird, and you kind of feel for the dad. He must be so worried, but that's part of the layering of it, So anyways, body count does matter for guys, but it's about quality. Like no guy's getting a high five for going at a bunch of ladies at the pub in Glasgow. Sorry, guys in Glasgow, but your ladies aren't. your ladies are.
I've never been there. I wouldn't know.
I just base this on what I look at in Street View whenever. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Or Critical Drinker's description of it. No guy's getting high fives for that.
To be fair, like down south, you probably noticed this. A lot of hot women, a lot of beautiful women. And I'm just kind of looking around and I'm like, damn, I can't compete with that. Maybe I should move out.
Well, you can. There's some ways. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime because I am trying to put together dating strategies for women, including, by the way, I don't know. All right. You only need one. That's the amazing thing about partners. You only need one. Yeah. When I was young, I liked older women. I still kind of do. Like not every guy is like into younger women all the time. A lot of guys don't know what they want until they see it, right?
Yeah.
And people are at different stages in life. Like I doubt that there's going to be some 35-year-old computer programmer who's going to be like, "Oh, I got to get me a 25-year-old." He's like, "No, he probably has trouble just talking to girls in general, because that was that's the way I was."
Oh my God. Work. So that reminds me of my freshman year of college. There was a guy that asked me out on a date, and it was the most awkward date ever. I felt really bad for him. But at the same time,
did you pat him on the head and was like, "You're trying so hard"?
It was close.
Oh,
good Lord.
Did you end the night like beating him at skee ball or something, like he's trying to impress you at the carnival game and you just cream him?
Oh no, he was trying to impress me with his work. And he got real technical into like building printers.
Oh, dude, my man, don't.
Yeah. It was the only thing I could get him to talk about.
Whenever I get to the toner, that's when these ladies just melt. I was just like, my man needs help. Listen, that's a printer disconnect, right? That's a disconnect right there. Oh my gosh. Please tell me about Printerman.
Yeah, so pretty much the rundown of how this went is, number one, I was going to turn him down I was originally going to turn him down because I'm like, I'm not at college, I'm back home. And he's like, oh, that's where I am too. And I'm like, how do you know that? That's a little bit weird. And so I was like, okay, I can't get out of this. I'll just go. And I went to go see a movie with him. So I show up like 10 minutes early. He shows up, and I was about to leave because he showed up 10 minutes late.
Oh, bad. Okay, yeah, bad dude.
Yeah, bad dude. And so I was walking out to leave, and I didn't feel that bad about it because I was just like, well, I just got out of this, so I'm sorry to leave. And then he sees me as I'm leaving, as he's coming in, and he's like, oh, you're here. And I'm like, dang it.
Oh, man. Did you call him out on that? That's a big deal.
He was like, oh, well, we just missed all the commercials. And I'm like, dude. And he's like, I'll pay for your ticket. And I was like, were you not going to pay for my ticket? I was like,
this guy is not doing okay. This guy's a no-go. I would have. Yeah. You would have been full in your right to leave.
Yeah. So, he picked the movie. I didn't know what movie we were going to see. So I asked him, and then he already had picked the movie. And I'm like, really? You're going to pick this really Macho Man one? It was like Men in Black 3. Which I was
not even a good movie.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. Yeah, which wasn't even a good movie, but I was like, that's a really masculine movie. I'm fine with that because of who I am, but for most chicks, that's not what they want to see.
Exactly. What was in theaters at that time? All right, so you had.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, I was gonna look it up. I was like, I'm terrible at streaming and looking stuff at the same time. But yes,
Yeah.
show up on time. Don't talk about printers, and don't take her to see Men in Black 3. We got good advice here from Luna. Okay, about preferences.
No, it gets even worse because after the movie, I was like, okay, it's in the dead of winter, so it's cold outside, and I'm sitting there shivering with my coat on, and I wanted to just leave. And he's like, I want to walk around for a bit. And
gosh, this guy's
and it's an outdoor mall, and it's freezing, and I'm sitting there shivering, and I'm trying to be like, so, what's what are you doing in school? And then he give me one-word answers. I'm studying engineering. I'm like, okay.
So he's not even holding up his conversation.
Yeah, he was. It was like I felt like I was having to baby him through conversations, and he just kept dropping one-word answers on me. The only thing he would not do that with was work, right? And the worst part about it is we were going through the center of this outdoor wall, and there was these two guys, like built like bodybuilders, jamming on violins. And it was the most amazing thing I'd ever saw, like improv violin work. They were just playing. They looked like brothers, probably were. The most amazing musical feat I'd ever seen at that point. And just in the middle, totally did not expect it. So I'm in awe of what is happening in front of me. And he kind of stands in front of me between me and the violinists and just keeps trying to talk about printers. And I'm just like, Dude, do you not see what is happening right here?
Okay, yeah. So your instincts right there are kicking in because not being able to enjoy the moment and not paying attention to you is a big red flag in terms of care. Because he's treating you like you're an object, like an accessory. That's not good.
Which was not good, and I'm pretty sure he knew I was not happy because after that I never spoke to him again. It was like he fell off the map.
So, yeah, that's a train wreck. Oh my gosh. Well, at least it's a train wreck that ended quickly. Like it's a quick train wreck, not a.
Yeah, and it didn't get any worse from that. So, I mean, it could have gotten far worse, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least he wasn't vindictive. He was just sort of clueless, right? Like this is the kind of guy that needs arranged marriage. Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna be on Reddit or Twitter or whatever in a few years.
And then you kind of feel bad for the wife, unless the wife is just as bad as he is.
I don't know how you could be. Nagging is nagging is one of the worst things a lady can do to a guy. I'd say it's one of the worst things. It's not an actual cardinal sort of sinish thing. So anyways, well, it comes down to preferences, right? And that's the topic of tonight. We're going to talk about men and women's preferences. I was wondering, do you want to get into physical preferences first, or do you want to do the preferences that are more related to the date, that kind of date, personality and such?
Both work, to be honest, because I think men are more physical, attracted to the physicality, and women are attracted more to the personality. But there's a lot of personality you can depict from the physicality too. They're both interwoven. So
this is actually something that I'm gonna just pull up a paint. I'm like John Madden this, okay? Because I've got some ideas. Let me just I want you to think a little bit about the gates. So there are gates, right? The two gates are attraction and then commitment. Those are the two gates. And I feel like those two things are inverted, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to attempt to draw it like I'm donut operator explaining a crime scene. Present. Share screen. There we go. All right. Beautiful. I've tried using fancier drawing programs to do this kind of stuff, and it never works. Okay. All right. I'm going to put on this little graph. This is black. I'm going to make it really thick. Hold your jokes. All right. There we go. That's good enough to see. All right. Here's our graph. And in our graph, we got two time. All right. So this is T for time. And this is I for intensity. How about that? Okay, there you go. Perfect. Intensity. Yeah. I'm going to use different colors. So for men, what you're saying is that the intent. So red equals physical. Oh my gosh, it's like a 2-year-old. That's great. Men have bad handwriting to begin with, so this is not great. And what do you think? You want to call it like I don't know if I'd call it emotional or personality. I don't know. What do you think? Other stuff.
Mental.
Let's say mental. There we go. That's mental. All right.
So is the M for, because you have an R for physical and a M for mental.
Oh, that's because I'm D for dyslexic. 1 second.
I was like, is it supposed to be blue or? Okay, you're gonna make it a P.
Yeah, it's supposed to be P. I'm an idiot.
Okay, that works.
All right, so let's do men first, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk about men. I'm just gonna grab this, copy it. I'm gonna make a brand new one too. I don't know if it's gonna like make that go away. I'll have it in my clipboard. Anyways, men up front, physical, quite a bit. So starts right up there. Here's the thing though. As men get to know a woman, that becomes less and less important over time. So it plateaus. This is like hair curler territory, okay? This is like you're in a terry cloth robe, a pink terry cloth robe with your hair curlers in. This is marriage. Okay, so at this time juncture here, he's married. When he's married or well into marriage, he's already made up his mind. Strangely enough, that's when the women try to like look the best. Mm-hmm. It's probably not a best use of time and resources for a lady, but it's her special day. But I'm just saying, ladies, you don't have to try that hard.
Yeah.
At that point. Men, yeah, we do start pretty low mentally. Like we're not really interested. Oh, oops. Sneeze a little bit. All right. And it's going to cross over and become way more important. That's why I'm saying that a lot of these women who hit the wall, as they say, right? That's rather crass but accurate term. The wall is a mental wall. The wall is a mental wall. It's acting your age kind of thing. I don't know. A lot of women will keep the mindset of the left part of the graph. And they don't really grow, right? So a lot of ladies,
they don't really grow up.
Yes, exactly. You see this. Like, okay, so one of my tweets today, I said I love this woman, and I was retweeting a woman who was sitting in what looked like a hair salon, right? And she's complaining that someone didn't show up, and she sounds like a frustrated business owner. And I was like, I love this woman. She is mentally where I want to. This is mentally where I am. Like, she has problems to fix. She's got real problems. Okay, not fake problems. It's not like, oh, someone on Twitter said a thing and I'm upset. It's like, no, that's a fake problem. It's not a real problem.
Yeah.
Okay? If you're being upset, by the way, if social media ever upsets you, get off of social media. I think there's a famous meme. I don't remember if it was like Ludacris or somebody. He says, "How is cyberbullying real? LOL, LMFAO. Just close the screen. LOL." It's like that's actually it's like I can't argue with it. I've left Twitter for a couple months before. It's like, and now I just treat it like a big joke, as you can see. Anyways, a lot of women don't like. Okay, tell me the mindset. Like, you see other women. You see why isn't it developing, right? For some women. First off, say which women you want to talk about, because there's a lot of types of women.
Because there's a lot of types of women. Like,
what's the deficit you see? Where does it go wrong, and for who?
It's weird because, like, so there are women who are kind of the catty, bitchy women. Excuse my French. Who are sort of like the very snippish, the very vindictive.
Oh, yeah, the grudge.
A lot of times, a lot of times they're very beautiful in their youth. And
why is that? I see. Is it insecurity then? Like, their looks are fading, or
part of it is their looks are fading, and they got away with a lot of bad behavior, and no one disciplined them. That's true.
Because, exactly. Your dad is supposed to discipline, no matter how attractive you are. Your dad is supposed to be the one that says, you don't talk to somebody like that, or, but dads don't do that. I don't know what happened with the baby boomers, but they decided that they're just going to take a vacation from raising proper children. And now we're left with a mess. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. But a lot of ladies don't develop mentally. Like, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of reasons for it. A lot of the women who I know of who actually did mature and are doing really well, A lot of them are sort of the oddball types like me. There's one girl who's a good friend of mine, and she was raised on a farm, loves animals.
That'll do it.
Yeah, she has like a couple older brothers, but she's always the dependable one who her dad asks to go clip the goat's nails.
That's first off, that's kind of actually a pretty tough chore. I don't know if you've ever tried to like wrangle a goat, but they are really funny.
Yeah, I've tried.
Touch their feet. Oh yeah.
It didn't go well. It did not go well for me. And
man.
God bless her. She is built about the same as me, who is like really tall, really scrawny, and she could wrangle those goats and clip their nails. And she was a really good person, really, really quiet, real soft spoken. But
that's why I love my. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not being. I am being rude. It's because I have a bursting of enthusiasm. That's a good point, because that's when I started really loving my wife, was when I could rely on her to take care of stuff for me, and really like major stuff sometimes too. Like she's the one that did all the vaccinations on our sheep. Speaking of livestock, right? And she just did it on her own. Like she figured out how to wrangle them, and I was impressed. I was like, that was my plan was to go out and put them in a headlock, and that was going to be really difficult and dangerous. And she found a safer way to do it. So
So there's something to be like the responsibility, the dependability, and then what happens is a lot of the stuff a lot of girls care about just doesn't matter. Like, so one of the things that we agreed on, is I never cared for makeup. The only makeup I knew how to do was stage makeup because I was a former dancer, and
that's right.
Yeah. So I did learn how to do stage makeup, and you have to wear it. But that was about all the makeup I did. And then she never liked makeup either. And then there was a lot of and you kind of look at a girl and because it's sort of like this is someone who's got better priorities, but she doesn't look like a peacock.
Right, exactly. So my wife also wears makeup, but it's just foundation. It's just there to like even things out.
Yeah.
And it's mostly for her. She also takes pride in her eyebrows. She like learned from 17 magazine how to do good eyebrows. She's been doing them that way forever. Like how like conservative boomer guys have that one haircut they always have. She has her eyebrows always the same thing. I was like, perfect. Don't change it. It's working great. Unless she wants to change it and doodle around. But like your face is not really a good canvas, right? You got to wear that around. People got to look at it. And also if people don't like it, like that's really personal. Okay, so if my wife made a painting and I said, that's not really my style, I don't really like it, that's just her painting. But if I say that about her face, about stuff she's put on her face, it could turn into a bit of an incident. So it's a little risky. But oh yeah, please go on.
I was gonna say that but there's a lot of women. So I worked a temp job for a little bit too. Like I had a very diverse and interesting life, but I worked at a temp job too, and a lot of the issues I had were not with the men at all. In fact, I really liked working with a lot of the men. It was always the women I had problems with. I'm like, I just want to do my job. I just want to, have my little machine going. I just
want to do my job. That's the men's like catchphrase. Okay, so no man ever. Men don't come home from work and say like, "Oh, I hate working for men," but women do come home from work and say like, "I hate working for women." It's like the tertiary crap. Like us men don't want to. The thing is, a lot of women got into feminism and they didn't realize that us men didn't want to be at work. Like we don't love being at a factory. We don't love being in an office. This is not where we want to be. Like if you wanted to live the man's dream life and I don't know, smash the patriarchy, you'd go. You get on a farm, go fishing. I don't know. Like you wouldn't be here. We hate this place. Why are you in our prison?
In the military.
Yeah.
Yes. A bunch of guys doing push-ups and raw. Yeah.
Well, the military women are a different breed. They're there for other reasons too.
Military women are. Okay, I have a sister that went into the military, but I'm not going to go there. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always exceptions, but there's always rules too, right?
Yeah. But my problem is there's always that one woman, and you could kind of tell which one she was because she always got bored. And she was it's like that look of she was once beautiful. She's wearing way too much makeup. And she's not doing her job, and she's bored, and so she's gossiping and causing all sorts of problems.
Oh, I see. So she's given up on the game, and she's gotten frustrated and decided to just cause crap.
I think, and there was a lot of women like that in like their 40s or 50s when I was working temp.
Oh, I see.
And some of the ones who were not nearly as bad were the ones with children, and they were the ones I got along with, and they really liked me too because I was like doing my job.
Really? So childless women kind of create a difficult work environment.
Yeah.
Childless women in their 40s. Yep.
And it's not just a childless women, it's also women who you could tell their husbands were awful to them. Because
that's kind of sad then, yeah.
Yeah, there's one old woman who it was like almost like she was bipolar, and half the time she was really nice and sweet, and the other half the time she was just sitting there yelling at me and raking me over the coals. And I'm looking at her like, what did I ever do to you? And then,
well, she's probably used to that kind of treatment environment. She probably just thinks that's okay. I used to be that way too, right? Like I grew up in a really bad home, and I used to just be a jerk. And someone called me out on it once, and I was like shocked. I was like, this, for lack of a better phrase, it was my culture. Like I would just criticize people. Like, boom, I see you doing something wrong, criticize it. And then someone pointed out, and I'm like, yeah, there isn't really a reason for me to criticize this stuff. Like, it doesn't matter.
The home life really has an effect on that too. So it's like when people have issues, you can tell. And so, yeah, that's what it was. And I didn't know about it until one day she came in and she was all bruised up. And we were like, what the hell happened? And she's like,
that's not good. Oh, she's bringing down the mood. I'm sorry about that lady.
Yeah.
Are you still in contact with her? Do you know her?
No. No. I feel real bad for her, but you know,
the good
she was
news
also
is there's a lot of
me. Okay.
Well, sometimes you got to take the dog out of the thorn bush to see if it's a good dog or not, right? Like every dog's a bad dog in the thorn bush. It's not a good place to be. As a kid who tried to free a dog from a thorn bush and got mauled, the dog was probably fine after that, but we were one bad moment. Anyways, so, like women don't, especially Western women. So I don't know what to call it. Modern women, Western women. I don't know. The thing is, I have to paint with a brush. People expect laser precision in language. It's not going to happen. Okay, it's never. I'm going to pave over innocent people to make any kind of progress. And I'm sorry, Luna's one of them. I don't know what to call. Well, the thing is, you're also out of the whole body count issue thing because it's not a problem for you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to out that.
Yeah, I want to say maybe cosmopolitan women or like that sort of.
Oh, that's a good word.
Like I want to say almost like the middle class every woman, like the Karen almost, or like the pre-Karen.
Yeah, there's a class of women that live for pleasure.
Yeah.
There's a class of women that live for pleasure. Yeah, and it's television shows, it's wine, it's jewelry. My wife doesn't own any jewelry.
Ishtar. It's almost like Ishtar from Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh, I'm gonna have to admit I've not.
You have not seen that?
Oh no, I remember now. I watched the Lotus Eaters thing of it. It's just sort of. I was passively listening. I wasn't actively listening. No, I remember. Yes, exactly.
She's like the bad woman who is super vindictive, and
nothing changes, guys. Nothing changes.
Yeah,
nothing ever changes.
It's sort of like that city dwelling woman who has not like endured or grown or gone through a lot of the trials of life, and they're just coasting along and they're bored, and then they realize that they're getting old. And
yes, and there's a need in them, and they need to satisfy it, and they think that power will satisfy it, and those people are. So if you take a woman and then you just take her traits and just transport it onto a man, especially these cosmopolitan women, you would get an absolutely villainous man. But it's just an average cosmopolitan woman. If you just took an average cosmopolitan woman, transposed her personality, her tendencies, her activities, her proclivities onto a man, you would get like the worst man ever. Like, it would be a villain. He'd be a villain. Like, I need lots of attention. Where's my jewelry? I deserve this. It's like, oh, you're like a Disney villain.
You are the worst. Yeah,
but it's a activity we tolerate in cosmopolitan women.
And they get away with it because, like I said, they were beautiful and they were women, and women are valued because of their reproductive abilities, and that's how we're hardwired. So it's like
I know the Lotus Eaters talk about Victorian women, and I don't know if I haven't put a lot of thought into this, but it seems like they talk about the Victorian period the way the Americans talk about the 1950s. Now, the Victorian period was about a 70-year span, but I guarantee you that the cosmopolitan woman would not be considered great. She would be like your Sybil Hierson from Keeping Up Appearances, that British comedy show.
Yeah.
If she was a Victorian woman of status, if she was a woman of no status, she would be like the woman who's walking by the docks. She'd be a dock walker. That's what she would be. And most women today would probably be by the docks, because they don't have they also don't have like the social acuity. Like these women do not keep friends. If you want to know if a woman is high quality or not, is like, does she actually keep friends? And are those friends all men? I
try.
Well, family counts too. Family actually does count. Like, I would not hold it against a woman if she was friends with her family members and close with them and able to deal with that, right? So,
yeah.
But people need to go out and make friends more, and they'd probably learn a lot better, because friends do kind of hold, like, proper friends do hold you accountable to who you actually are and don't let you get away with stuff. But anyways,
I feel like there's needs to come back to be a culture of doing hobbies and getting together with different people to just do things, not on their phone or wherever else. Or like, if you're gonna play video games, why not have a gaming group in town that everyone can just go to and play video games together?
That's
like
a good
Halo
point.
and the old classics. But
like, the whole online friends thing is so fake. Don't have online friends. Like, I think the Quartering has this thing. He has his real life friends. He has online friends. And the two never meet. And his online friends are not the one. They're like business partners. Like, your online friends, they're more like business associates. Even if you meet up and all that stuff, it's like you have your real friends who you're just yourself with. When you're online, you're gonna have a persona. In fact, I kind of think you have to make a persona just to tolerate being on social media. Because if you try to just be yourself, well, then it's everyone's insulting you, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm wearing a mask,
you want to have that shell. You want to have that barrier between, oh, they're not really hurting me, they're hurting this avatar of mine.
Correct. Never be yourself online. If I ever let my wife onto social media, which I would not, because it is a Skinner box. Social media is a Skinner box designed to exploit women for content. Like, every time, I wonder if someone at Twitter ever did the math on like how many times a butt picture a woman puts on Twitter. Like, how does that equate to in money? Is that like a fifth of a penny? It's like, okay, because that's how much traffic it drives. It'd
probably be better to do it on OnlyFans, because that is also monetized.
Yeah, at least
anyway.
Yeah. That's choosing between the rock and the hard place. But no, I notionally I do agree. On principle, I do agree with that. On some principle, I'm sure there's a principle deep down that makes me agree with that. I have to find it, but the online discourse and everything is also freezing women up. Now, one of the biggest things I got hate for was not from today. It was actually from a while ago. There was a woman who posed a picture of herself, like, lying on her bed. Like, she's like this. Well, she had one hand on the camera, right? She's holding the camera and she's just like looking at it like wistfully, like doing this, like as if you were from the point of view of her lover and you're reclining on a Chase lounger on the deck. And I was like, it actually hit me to my core. I was like, this is disgusting. I'm actually disgusted. This is not kayfabe. I'm genuinely disgusted. And I just retweeted her, says, you are married to social media, because that is what you were doing. You were doing this parasocial crap with your followers where they feel some intimate connection with you, and it's fake. It is fake. This is actually what porn is. When people say they want to ban porn, ban all women from the internet. It's like, ban all socialization, because all socialization is the artificial satisfaction of a visceral urge for friendship.
Yeah.
It's not real.
And there is sort of like, I'm not going to lie, like, when you're a woman, there's something to like the male, like, on one hand, it's like you want male attention, but you don't want the wrong male attention. You don't want some guy that's creepy to go after you, but you want the right guy to pay attention to you, and then you just
correct.
Want attention.
Like, sexual harassment from one guy is a invitation to a dinner date that maybe was awkwardly worded from another guy, right? Depending on how and having been the ugly guy and also having been the attractive guy, there's a big difference in how women treat you and are receptive to you.
Yeah. Like, I know it's fairly difficult and it's a hard line to understand, but yeah, that is definitely the case. And so it's like, I admit it, like, half the reason I'm on social media is because I like to poke the Lotus Eater guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you know why you're there, which means you know why you're not there too, right? Like, a lot of ladies just walk in like they're walking into a shopping mall, and then they get sold a bunch of stuff. Because if you're trying to sell a product, your favorite person is the person who already wants your product, obviously. The second favorite person is the person who doesn't know what they want, and you can talk them into it. They're just sort of meandering through.
Oh my god. Okay, I just went Labor Day shopping, and there was there's this little old lady, bless her heart, and she saw me and my mother looking at clothing and decided that she was going to try to sell me the whole store. She also thought I was 22, which is flattering, but yeah, but she was very much here, try this on, here, try this on, here, try this on. I'm like, lady, I've had enough. 5 more, please. Well, I walked out of the store with 2 things, but that's okay.
I know. Well, it used to be back in the day that you wouldn't even ask a woman her age, right?
Yeah.
I think the problem. Okay, 2 problems with social media. It is pornography for women because women want attention.
Yes.
And this is all women. So if you see like a lot of likes under a post of yours and you're like, oh, that feels good, it's like you've just been productized. You are falling for it. Don't do it. I actually
kind of scares me a little bit.
It should, right?
Yeah, it scares me a little bit, but I also kind of like the attention. But I'm also like, I don't like that many people looking at me for something this stupid.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of thing you say like, well, that was interesting, and then you move on. Like I treat Twitter more like a petri dish I'm experimenting on than anything else. Like it's not. If you're getting your validation from Twitter, like and it's a vicious cycle for both the women who produce the content and the simps who are consuming it.
Oh,
it's a weird vicious cycle of validation.
And then you get people like Andrew Tate, and then you wonder why. It's really bad. And I feel bad for a lot of those guys who are, oh my God, I saw this post about this woman who was given a $70K Tesla. And I'm like, why?
Oh, yeah.
Why would a man buy you a $70K Tesla unless you were like his wife?
I wouldn't even buy my wife a $70K Tesla. Screw that. I wouldn't buy me one.
I wouldn't buy me one either. I like my nice little Toyota. But
I've got a teeny little Honda. Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I was looking at that like, why would you buy some random beautiful woman on the internet this Tesla?
Man, homeboy's down bad. He's down bad. He wants that.
And of course, she made a post about it, and she was like, one of my subscribers just gave this to me, and the guy's like, I'm never going to do anything nice to a woman again. And I'm like, why would you do that? Okay, I admit I do occasionally buy the Lotus Eaters like chocolates for Valentine's Day. And that's like $30 that I don't expect back. But
yeah.
It's like a $70K Tesla. That's in a whole different ballpark. And I'm like, yeah, don't put that on a woman. That was a really dumb thing to do.
Some guys have to learn the hard way, but it's the ladies also kind of lead it on, right? The ladies also lead it on because now there's a guy out there that sees that she got, well, the thing is, it would have been worse in a lot of ways if she had given him more attention for it. Because then other guys would be like, ooh, I want that attention too. But
she's just stringing him along. And one of the things that when I was growing up, okay, my sisters and my mother and occasionally my grandmother imparted their wisdom. And one of the things they told me, never accept jewelry from a man unless you're married to him.
No, no, I was gonna buy jewelry for a girl once when I was in high school. And my mom stepped in. It was one of the few times that she gave me some actual wisdom, like real wisdom.
Yeah.
I don't know, parents, hands off, man. I don't know why parents are so hands off. But this one, she said, don't buy her jewelry, buy her like a teddy bear. So I went to Build-A-Bear, and she's a ballerina, so I made her a ballerina bear, and she thought it was super cute. Yeah, I was like, oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, guys want to buy jewelry for women. We like to go kind of all out a little bit, and we're not very subtle.
Yeah, and even jewelry is not nearly as expensive as a car. But still, it's like, that's one of those things of you do not buy that for a woman unless there's a hard commitment there, like marriage.
I feel bad for the guy. I feel really bad. Now, he's an idiot. Yeah. He deserves to lose that money.
Yeah.
And because he's a man, I can say that sort of thing. It's great. I can just say it's a wonderful thing. For men, when something bad happens to a man, I could just say he deserved what he got because he got it. Like he was involved in he opened his bank account. He said a 70,000. Okay. He went, ordered it. There we go. And then he had it sent over there. He was like involved in every step of the process. I'm not going to blame society. We don't blame society when men screw up. Okay, so take that with that. What you think? I hate it when people blame society. It's like, no, you were actively involved in every single thing there. There's a lot of we have more freedoms now than ever before, and we take so little responsibility for our state of our lives.
To some degree, I feel like women should be treated the same. I feel like they used to.
They would hate it. They would. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it, dude. If I told a woman that I had had sex with 300 women, she'd probably be like, "Ew, I'm leaving." That's exactly what she'd be like. What woman would? No good woman would be like, "That's fine." So it's like, but all these women on the internet right now are getting mad because men don't want to sleep with a girl who's had 300 men.
I got shocked when I saw a 30 body count, and then I started seeing like 58 and 300, and I was like,
"No, it gets up there." I mean, you
yeah,
collect them. I mean, ladies collect them. Like, let's say it's like once every 2 weeks, right? So that's 26 per year, and she does it for 10 years. So that's 260. There you go. That's
it's mind blowing. It's like, why would you do that? Like, what is wrong with you?
Well, the problem is, it's the same thing as eating like a lot of spicy food, right? Like spicy food. The sensation from spicy food destroys your taste buds. Okay?
I don't like spicy food, but yeah, you're right.
Right, it destroys you. It's actual pain.
Yeah,
and you have to. Well, having sex with a lot of people destroys your sort of intimate tastes as well, right? It's not as special, and you're always going to be comparing your person you're with the other people you've been with. So if you've been with like 260 dudes, well, he better be like the top of the 260 because. If she's not paying attention that much and she starts drifting off in thought during the deed and she starts thinking of an ex-boyfriend or someone who did it better, that's gross. That's a huge problem. No, the thing is, go ahead, please.
Like, why would you do that? Like, and I think a lot of it has to come with two things. One, it's the wisdom is not being handed down from mother to daughter. These are the social things you do and don't do. Part of it may have been the whole rebellion thing of I'm going to do what I want.
These women are still doing it. They're still doing it. Even the reformed ones who are like found Jesus, they still don't want to accept it. That's why I'm like, I have to call it every time. It's like, do you actually just do what your husband says? Like, do you actually do that? I doubt it because almost no women do that. Mm-hmm. So I'll be like, if he says, make me dinner for 3 friends, please. I'm having 3 friends over from work. Please make dinner tomorrow. It's like, that's usually a fight. Just asking her.
Right. Like, it boggles my mind. And so it's like, that's one of the things is the wisdom is not being handed down from mother to daughter. The second thing is...
Well, the daughters don't want to hear it if the mothers tried. I mean, these women don't want to hear it.
But the other thing is birth control because that removes the consequences. You couldn't back in the day sleep with that many men and not get pregnant at some point.
I think it's a Book of Job kind of situation right now, except instead of enacting a punishment, it's now giving them freedom and seeing what people actually do. It's like, take this, my good people of America. Let's say they love me so much, they'll praise me no matter what. Let me give them complete freedom from material needs. Like they're not hungry, they're not cold, they're not in danger, physical danger, and see how they still praise me.
Job is probably not the book. The book would probably be, I think I want to say it's Kings, where it's Elijah. Definitely a lot, Elijah. And
I haven't read Kings yet. Actually, I have to admit, I'm working my way through. I'm doing it totally out of order. I went with Isaiah, and now I'm doing Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is a slog because it's like the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I felt bad for Jeremiah. No, the thing about Elijah is Jezebel's real interesting of a character, and they say a lot of the Christians I talk to are saying that a lot of what's happening in America is actually mirroring what happened during Elijah's time. And
elucidate, please.
Yeah, so part of it is that Jezebel was in charge, and Jezebel was worshiping a lot of these Canaanite gods.
Yeah, as they do.
And so she had a weak husband who was the king of Israel, or maybe it was Judah, because there's the 2 kingdoms. I'm blanking out.
Judea and
and Israel, I think was the other one.
Yeah.
Because the 2 kingdoms split, and it was she was the wife of one of the kings, and the king was a weak king, and
Yeah.
she was pretty much the one running the show, and she's the one that had all of her priests of Baal that were going after Elijah. And
Yep.
yeah, so Elijah is very much sort of a wild man in the wilderness, wearing camel's cloak, eating no, it wasn't crickets, it's locust. Yeah, in the desert.
Was a locust and honey sort of deal, like John
locust
the Baptist?
and honey. Yeah,
there you go.
Well, part of it is that there's a prophecy about Elijah would come back when the Messiah came back, and so John the Baptist was supposed to be a callback to Elijah.
Oh, I see. Very interesting.
Yeah, so and so there was a whole thing about Jezebel, and Jezebel was kind of, a lot of people say, are like Hillary Clinton.
I mean, people are gonna. It's these archetypes are eternal.
Yeah,
these archetypes are eternal. This could apply to America. It could apply to a guy who runs a small business and his wife is kind of wearing the pants in the relationship. And what ends up happening is you get all of the insecurity. But worst off, this is the thing I actually find the most detestable. And again, women will say, "Oh, no one taught me and no one passed down wisdom." Well, hey, men are speaking right now. Here's a bit of wisdom. Do not author your own morality and do not right the wrongs of the world on your own. Like, there are major consequences to trying to address justice. There's major consequences to doing what you think is the right thing the wrong way. Like, there's a right way to do the right thing, and then there's a wrong way to do the right thing, right? And a lot of ladies are trying to, okay, as a man who is speaking, if you have a huge body count, you have to throw yourself at the mercy of the dating marketplace. Get past it. Find a man that won't ask, and hope that he never asks, and be prepared for him to ask, and put it all behind you as best you can, but be ready to feel ashamed. Like, it's going to be really easy to make you feel ashamed because you've done a shameful thing. If you've had 260 men inside of you. And I saw some women on Twitter saying, like, well, if he looks at porn, then we shouldn't marry him. I was like, well, then don't marry him. Like, deal.
Yeah.
Okay? But the thing is, the revealed preferences. Women hate their own nature, that they don't mind women don't mind body count that much. Like, by and large, they don't seem to. Now, up to a certain reasonable amount, like if I had 260 women, it reveals something about a man if he's had sex with that many women, is that there's some, I don't mean to be this crass, but there's a hole he's trying to fill inside of himself, right? Like, there's something wrong with him. If he had slept with a bunch of women and he was like in love with each one of them and it was just tragic and he wanted to marry them, which is what I did. Like, all the women I'd slept with, I wanted to marry. Like, my body count doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother my wife. She knows guys aren't really attached to their exes. Actually, guys are repulsed by their exes most of the time. So there's a different dimension there too, because a lot of ladies kind of start missing their ex, whereas men do not. We are so happy to get rid of those women because we upgrade. We're always upgrading. We don't. We typically go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, typically. I was gonna say, I've only had one ex, and I do not miss him, so I wouldn't know. But
yeah, you're an exceptional lady, Luna. You're an exceptional lady.
I'm weird. That's okay.
It served you well. I mean, it served you better than these ladies. Like, so
yeah.
The thing for these ladies, like, either you're going to find a husband or you're not, and you're just going to have to accept what you're going to get. And if you're going to be ungrateful and say, like, well, I'm supposed to be forgiven and clean, like, no, you don't get to control how other men think. Like, you don't get to change men's preferences. You do not get to socially condition a new man, a new universal man who is going to love you. You can't make a man love you. That is classic witchcraft sort of thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I see all these, like, oh, go ahead.
I think a lot of women get so much love that they don't understand that there's also a reverse to this, that you also have to appease the man and that you have to satisfy his desires.
Well, sort of exactly. Like, I had one of these women say that she, like, why are men going around saying that women with a past don't deserve a man? I was like, no, you don't deserve a man. No one deserves a man. No man deserves a woman. It's not like we showed up on earth and there was a covenant that says, all right, God says if you do this, you'll have a husband. It's like, no, that is not how it works.
Yeah,
be thankful if you get one. Yeah. But these women are super entitled to it. They're like, no man likes me. They must think I'm bad. Like, no, we just said no. Okay. Just because I don't like wheat bread doesn't mean I judge wheat bread unworthy to be a bread. Like, I just don't want to marry you, ladies. Like, calm down. No, most men don't. Sorry.
And it's weird because it's like you don't really hear a lot about men's preferences, and the only time I've heard about men's preferences is sort of like boobs or butt. Like, to be perfectly honest, as a woman,
We're
like,
pretty simple.
Yeah. When sorry.
We're pretty easy to please. I mean, boobs, butt, food. Okay, I'm gonna pull the graph back up. Okay, this is. Oh no, I removed it. Add to stream. There we go. Yeah. All right. So
yeah,
Reddit. This is for men, right? Men want an intense amount of physical at first, and then it tapers off. Okay, this is the boob butt region right here. Okay, I'm gonna just John Madden. All right, this is the boob butt zone. Okay, the BBZ. All right. This is the BBZ, the Bravo zebra. Okay. Once we get the boobs butt zone, okay, then we're moving on, and we want to start having like, okay, you're helping make the house pretty zone. Now you're like the mental part starts taking over. Okay, now you're helping me get a dinner for coworkers or something like that. Okay, now we're planning a vacation. Now we're planning a wedding, and all this other stuff. As she starts taking stuff off of his plate and enhancing his lifestyle, the looks don't matter that much. Like I notice when my wife isn't wearing makeup, and I ask her if she's okay, because that usually means she's having a bad day, like she just doesn't have the energy. Okay, but I don't care. It's not because it bothers me. All right, I don't care if my wife puts on a little bit of weight either. Like I want her to stay like in a healthy zone. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't want
the best for each other.
Well, I can't help but be attracted to her. I can't help but be attracted to her. Like,
yeah.
I hear this all the time too with married couples, is that a wife will look on into a crowd and be like, "Ooh, that man looks pretty good," and it turns out it's her husband. Like guys do that too. It's like, well, that girl looks pretty good. Oh, that's my wife. Nice. But yes, the boobs and butts. But then our preferences do change, right? And that's when character starts to take over. And most women don't get past like most modern cosmopolitan women, they don't get past the boob butt zone. They hit the dating wall. Okay, this is the wall. It's blue because it's like the north. It's like the wall of the north. Okay, there's the White Walkers to the right of it, and to the left is you stuck here. Okay, because here is when we ghost you or not, or they're like, this is the texting zone. I guess I don't know for ladies. This is the wall of commitment, just basic commitment of you're the exclusive partner of this guy for dating purposes, and he's thinking about marrying you. Like he's thinking this is important.
Yeah,
you are a one night stand over here. Now, one of the best ways you can get past this wall is don't have sex then.
Yeah, like there's definitely yeah, you're totally right. And so this is kind of why my post blew up. So I had a post where I was saying I'm not going to sleep with a man until after I marry him. That was what I was taught. That was the wisdom handed down to me. It made sense.
So my wife did. It's actually really easy to just do that, ladies. You could just not have sex. I've not had sex most of the time. Believe it or not, I'm not having sex right now. It's very easy to not do it. You can just keep doing that all the time. Like long stretches where I'm not having sex with people. Sometimes I'm reading a book. Sometimes I'm playing a video game. Sometimes I'm even going to church.
You're doing other things. And a lot of women don't understand that it's not that hard to abstain, and it's not that hard to wait. And
if I have sex with
if you're easy, he's gonna like think that you're not worth it because he's gonna use you and W for a lot of the time. Like not all the time, but there's something there's something special about that, and I think it's important that you wait. Especially, it was definitely important before birth control because there was a whole thing with marriage of you're expected to have children, and if you have children before marriage, there's nothing tying him to you, and he can just dump you when you get pregnant. Like
that's a good point.
Way back
actually,
in the day. Yeah,
that's a good point because marriage is very different in the state of Tennessee where I'm at. Paternity fraud is now a crime, or it will be soon, because we're based over here in Tennessee. Yeah. So if you have a child from another man, okay, this is the anti-French rule. We're so non-French here in Tennessee. I don't know, wherever the opposite side of the globe from France, that's where we are. Okay, so no paternity fraud. That's a crime. You will go to jail if this House bill passes. Which it's in the process of now.
That'd be good.
There is compulsory paternity testing at birth, which is part of the bill here. Divorce. No fault divorce is not a thing here. So every time a red-pilled manosphere guy talks about, I'm never going to get married because she's going to take my money, it's like, Tennessee just won't let you.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a few things of like, is she threatened? Which, by the way, like threatened means like there's police reports, there's bruises, there's some cause. Okay.
Yeah.
a lot of times couples will have a fight, and even though they both sign so you can have a no-fault divorce if both of them agree, which basically means they have to settle out of court.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so which means the man isn't getting screwed. They both have some time because he could just walk away from the deal. It's like, okay, no divorce.
You're stuck with me.
It's not going to be a 50-50 divorce. I will take a 30-70 divorce. That's all I'll take. And she's stuck with it, or she stays with him. She's either stuck with the deal or stuck with him.
Yeah.
And it depends on how good of earplugs he has to just ignore the nattering. Okay. And that's what, but it changes the dating dynamic here in Tennessee because the women here are super friendly because they know that their marriage means something according to the law in Tennessee. So
yeah,
their society fixing the problem, and turns out the way to fix the marriage problem is to take away the freedom of women to just walk away from a marriage with half your stuff. Because men here are okay with getting married because the state's got their back. Women are okay with getting married because the state's got the marriage's back, right? Everybody all over the place has the woman's back. It's very easy to get a women's shelter. It's very easy for women to get help. Men are like, dude, there's very little support structure for men. It's very tough. It is doable. So men, I also don't want to hear you complaining. I mean, I lived in a tent once. I was homeless for like a month. It is what it is, right? I was just on my motorcycle being homeless. It wasn't that bad. It was really hard to get to sleep. So I would usually sleep during the day, like in a coffee place or something like that. I would pretend to be a customer and sleep. I don't know. Just being homeless sucks, but it's doable, right? Okay. You're not going to die. Okay. Being a homeless woman sucks. That's really dangerous.
Oh yeah. It's really dangerous. I managed to dodge that bullet.
Oh, good. Oh,
yeah.
man.
So,
I had a friend of mine. She was trying to dodge that bullet too, and I was like, I have an extra bedroom, just take it or something like that. I was like, no charge, don't worry about it.
That's pretty much what happened to me.
Yeah, because people want to help women. The thing is, if you try to help a man, the man might kill you. I'm sorry, men, but we could be murderers.
You're right.
Women usually aren't murderers, so women get free rooms. That's just the deal.
Really what the problem is like, and that's why it's so a lot of the issues with feminism and why feminism got to be so bad is because it really, really banks on women's fears. That's what's driving it. That's what drives recruitment. And they kind of bashed it. Recruitment?
No, man, what was driving it? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
Fear.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like they bank on women's fears. They try to think of the worst possible scenarios and say, this is all the stuff that's going to happen to you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the manosphere stuff they're doing the same thing. They think that every marriage is going to end in divorce. I would love to see more statistics on who's getting divorced, because I bet you, like, sort by BMI, sort by like activity level, so like sort of things that women respect. I don't think any woman who's like married to a guy who shows himself self-respect, he's probably not getting divorced nearly as much. It's probably a lot of it's probably a lot of fat boomers who never get off the couch. And a lot of ungrateful Stacys who always want more. It's like, well, these people aren't hard to find. They're not hard to spot. Like little Sarah Bible, little Sarah Bible study isn't going to turn into Stacy overnight, right? She might never turn into that. So it'd be nice if there was more information on who was getting divorced, but I digress.
Yeah.
The problem I see right now, the big problem is that a lot of women want husbands, and I know they don't want to admit it sometimes. They want husbands, but they're not even willing to listen. This thing is called men are speaking. I usually start out reasonable, and then as soon as I find out that they're not listening to me, I just start insulting them, because it's like, whatever. I just want to now. I just want to see. I just want to study your brain at this point. Like, I'll make a point, and the point is, men don't want a woman who has a high body count. Good men don't.
It's understandable too, because it's like back in the day, part of why virgins were such a big deal, like no birth control. How do you know if the child's yours? Because that's part of the agreement too. It's like, being pregnant is a very dangerous position, especially in like elden times, because if you got a wolf that's coming through town, how do you know you're not gonna, be the one the wolf eats? Especially if you can't get up and run away because you're carrying a baby with you and you're like 8 months pregnant.
Yep.
Like, to carry a baby is a really daunting thing, especially to a woman. Like, it's like, and they kind of scare you about it too. That's why a lot of women kind of went down that track, and they sell you all the drugs and stuff. And I'm very much against that. But Yeah. So where was I going with this? Sorry.
Pregnant woman, she's
Yeah.
going to be a slower one. Wolf comes
Yeah,
through.
so that's why it's so important that the man sticks to the woman, and why the marriage is so important, and the man's going to defend the woman, is because she's going to bring forth his child. Like, he cannot bring a child into the world, only she can. And
Right,
so,
exactly.
And so he wants some assurance that it's going to be his, but at the same time, she needs the protection from the man because she can't run away. And that's a long duration.
There's another video going around that's viral of a lady who got hit in the head with a brick, I guess, and like half her face is super swollen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There are barbarous men out there, right?
Yeah.
And women will like to say, "Look how bad men are." It's like, no, those are bad men. There's like 5% of the population that does all the crimes, all the violent crimes.
That is not all men, and as a woman, you can usually tell. And a lot of women do need some time to figure it out, but
a lot of women. The thing is, women are modern cosmopolitan women are defanging men's ability to take care of those men,
and that's not good.
Like, I would love to string him. I'd love to string him up by his feet and like brand his forehead with like violent with a V for violence, so that way everybody knows. Like you can put on a suit if he wants to, but now everybody's got a scarlet letter on him, like burned into his forehead. It was like, no, all out of compassion, some wellspring of compassion.
And I would like society to be more accepting of men taking things into their own hands. Like, so if a bar fight breaks
Tennessee
out,
for you.
Yeah, if a bar fight breaks out, and because one guy's being a jerk, and all the guys beat the crap out of that one guy because he was being a jerk, and then that's fine. That's the end of it. Like,
well, here's another.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why women won't do it. My opinion on why women won't do it is because if men are in charge, those good men are in charge, it's not going to be just the bad men they police. Those good men are also going to police the women and each other. They're good men police each other too. The thing is, everybody's going to get it policed now, because what you're going to have, okay, let's say that I and the virtuous men, let's say all the Lotus Eaters guys, they get up on horses and they just ride Andrew Tate out of the village.
Yeah.
Do you think that women are going to be allowed to be promiscuous in the village that Sargon of Akkad now runs? Got Harry and Josh and Bo. Like, do you think Bo is going to facilitate whorish behavior in his village? Sorry to use the word, but like they're not going to. That's the reason why women don't submit. They would rather take. They don't think about this. This might not be conscious, but women would rather have all the freedom to be whatever they want to be, if it means like one or two of them gets mugged or killed once in a while. Like it is not necessarily conscious, but it is a system that they all buy into. It's almost like we're all going to live in Shangri-La and be degenerates, but we have to sacrifice one or two of us to Baal every year. That's what's pretty much happening. And she's the sacrifice that year. That's what she's complaining about.
Well, so I feel like women have to. The problem is women have to police women, because when men try to police women, then women get very defensive about that. Like they're
gonna have to just suck it up.
I know, but
yes, women do have. I agree. Actually, yes, I agree. Because women are a little bit softer at policing than men. Men will just tell you to stop it, and we'll just tell you exactly what we think.
And then women get butthurt about it. Like, it is an instinctive thing. I hate to say it, but like, even when my dad is blunt with me, sometimes I get a little bit like, ugh. But it's not. It's just kind of, I think, how we're hardwired too. So I think women would have to police women. But yeah,
well, they don't have to, but it would be preferable. It'd be preferable for women. Because if a woman was out there and she was being a harlot in the streets, and I love her, right? She is one of the people in my. Let's say I'm the Baron. This is my little barony. Okay, the barony of Alex. I run this place. I love these people. They pay their taxes. They cheer my name. I like their funny little games they play. I throw a gigantic ball with some money in it, and they all just beat each other to death over it to get the ball. That's a real story, by the way. That happened in England. The nobles put some money in a giant ball, and then the locals just beat each other to get the ball. It still happens, by the way. That's an annual festival. I want to go someday. Count Dankula has a video on it. Anyways, I have these bonds of affection and sentiment toward the people in my barony, and I have bonds of affection towards the women there. I want, as a sort of paternal patriarchal figure, I want to guard their virtue, because virtuous women are worth protecting. It's kind of like I want to build a house that's worth defending. You don't want to do a bunch of self-defense drills and prepare and get all your guns ready and to defend like a flop house that sucks, that has a leaky ceiling. Like, no, you want to make your house really nice, and then you're going to want to defend it. Okay.
Yeah.
So part of making my house really nice is making the people virtuous, especially the women. So if I sentence a woman who has been a harlot to like literally be chained into her house so she cannot leave the house, and I've posted a guard at the door, that is going to be the way I do it because I'm a man and that's how I think. Okay.
Yeah,
now,
and see, that's not going to fly with women because women, we kind
well,
of
it'll fly if we
police
make it fly.
reputation.
The thing is that if things go brutal, which if Western civilization does fall apart, it'll become the rule of law as it always has been, which is the law of force. Like this weird era right now where society is socialized is very unusual.
I know, and that's why I keep thinking of the Book of the Kings. But anyway, yeah, it's very unusual, and I feel like a lot of how people behave is going to get a lot of real big culture shock if things start falling apart. And
well, these cosmopolitan ladies live in that world, and these cosmopolitan ladies are not worth defending. Like they're not. I feel no urge to protect these women.
Yeah.
In fact,
yeah, I was going to say, but in your sort of civilization where you got this just rule, if you have the woman by your side, so your wife, who is also a just and wise woman, I feel like her punishments through reputation destruction would probably be a lot more useful. And so if she would probably sentence her to
that's true.
Probably not.
That's true.
Yeah, probably not something physical like being bound to her house, but probably something like she can't attend any of the social events because this is only for a virtuous woman because of her bad behavior, and so she is socially cast out of society.
I bet you that
I bet she would leave.
woman. No, I bet you that woman would prefer the physical punishment over the reputational one. Yeah, exactly. I think she'd rather just me give her 3 lashes over the bed frame, and we just call it a day.
Yes, but it would be so much more effective.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the reputational damage should be like it's like a nuclear weapon. But yes, it should be wielded. Now, the problem is that ladies do it too much. Okay.
Well,
that's the thing is it's a nuclear weapon. It's a nuclear weapon. Exactly, which is why we.
For better or for worse, it's how we work.
Well, that's the reason why I don't think women should be in charge of society because you guys like exile and reputation destroy.
Yeah, well.
Which is so irreversible. Like if I punch a guy in the face, or I even like physically punish a woman, she just gets back up and she's fine. It's just pain. But like reputation destruction is forever.
Yeah.
Exactly. So in that way, the men's punishment is actually much better for people if they're living in a society where their reputation actually matters, which is not the current society we live in.
I know that's unfortunate, but
I guess I'll say one other thing about the virtue thing is that like for men, our direction is mandatory for our protection. It is not, if you don't follow men's direction, you don't get men's protection. That's it. That's why we have fairly modest levels of submission required. I know people don't like that word, but I'm going to use it. I looked up the Strong's Greek's translation of, I think it's Ephesians 5 is when that's mentioned, right? From Paul's letters, where he's talking about the submitting of the wives. There's 2 different words he uses. He used dios or something like that, which means submit in terms of love. But then he also says that like ladies should submit to their husbands as men submit to the church, and that is more of a fealty obedience sort of thing, right? So
yeah,
it's not, it's not.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what the actual line is in English. It's sort of like men love your wives and women obey your husbands.
Yeah, love your wives as Christ loved the church, which means to be ready to die for it, right? So the thing is here, first off, he didn't say all women. You shouldn't die for all women. Okay, guys, you have your woman. If I made a masculine movement, I would call it Not Your Man. That's the name of the movement, Not Your Man. We're somebody's man, but we're not your man because you're not our woman. Like men don't defend
wife,
things.
and then if you're the wife, then that's different.
And then you are that, but we're not talking to those ladies.
I just talk about those ladies.
Yeah, so it's like all these women assume that all the men belong to them. That's my big problem. When women say, I deserve a husband, it's like, no, you don't. You don't own us. We're not property. You don't go to the husband store, buy a husband. Oh, no, but I'm clean. That's the past. My past is behind me, and I'm all clean and good now. I'm sanctified again. Just ignore it. I deserve a husband. Like, no, you don't.
I'm pretty sure a lot of those women are feminists, and you would think that a feminist who believes that, I'm my
once a
own
feminist,
woman.
always a
Yeah, you would
once a
think
feminist,
that they
always a
would know
feminist.
better.
There's no. I say that as a personal opinion. Okay, once a feminist, always a feminist, because it's a mindset and you can't get out of it. And all I hear is what women deserve. And every time I hear the word deserve, I just want to die a little inside, because no man would ever say that. I was saying before,
because it's like there's to earn respect, to earn your place in life, that a lot of men do, and I've done it too. But it's like to earn it for yourself, and it's like those weren't deserved things that were given to me by virtue or whatever stupid. No, those were things that I had struggled and I worked my butt off to gain that reputation, and that is so important. And I feel like that should be universal. But I know it's definitely enforced on men, and you're a better man for it, even if it feels like you're. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the women who actually want a husband tend to listen to me, because my message is not actually that difficult. I was just saying that men don't want to marry a woman who has a high body count typically. Like, I'm sorry, this is what it is. And these women don't think it's understandable. They like try to start pulling scripture to justify why we should look past it. I was like, that's actually satanic, what you're doing, twisting scripture to your own ends. So first off, I'm furious when I see that. So funny thing about someone saying in the chat about chivalry. Chivalry was, if you ever read the letters from the ladies to the knights, that was horribly disrespectful. The ladies treated the knights like property, like garbage. Go and die for me in the tournament. So the chivalry thing was one-sided, 100%. And it was about class. It was about a noble class and then a warrior class below it. And as the warrior class, their lives were worthless and for fodder for wars. And the lady class, who, by the way, these ladies had husbands. That was... It wasn't all women, okay? There was also instructions in the chivalric code on how to... like restrictions on what you can do when you sack a city, sack a town. So we want to talk about real chivalry. Do not think for 1 second the knights thought 2 bits about grabbing a woman and forcing themselves on her. They absolutely treated most women like garbage. So yes, treat noble. So who are the noble women now, right? Okay, so Meghan Markle walks in. They will bow to her, curtsy, and she'll sort of motion them away and all stuff. But then they're going to go out in the street and they're going to go to the regular Stacy down the mall, and they're going to just grab a Stacy by the hair and take her wherever they want. You're my wife now. Get on the horse.
I hate that so much, so awful. Especially because Meghan Markle.
Well, that's what it would be. I chose her on purpose because she would be the noble in this case. So you have a bunch of ignoble, snobby, high-class women who are now treating a bunch of murderers like garbage, and that's your model for how men and women should interact. Now, let's go to the Victorian era, right? As we were saying before, there were ladies, and there was everybody else. There were proper ladies, and then there was just dock garbage. Okay, it wasn't rose-colored glasses 100%. The thing is, if you want to be a lady, you don't just get born into it. Okay, there actually are expectations of you. And one of those expectations is that you have to submit to the authority of men, because we're trying to make the world a better place for you, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think women had a lot of freedom in the Victorian era? Okay, when you read some Jane Austen, are you like, wow, she was so free. She could just do whatever she wanted. It's like, no, she had tons of expectations. So as soon as you ladies are willing to meet those expectations, I'd be happy to be chivalrous in the way that you think chivalry works. Because that's not your man. That's my movement. Not your man. I'm not your man. I have a wife. She also abstained until marriage. She is my one and only. When I'm with her, she is thinking of me because she has no one else to think about. When I'm dead, that's it. If we ever divorced, that would be it. We're both Christians. We actually believe getting married after divorce is a big no-no. Whole Anglican church got founded over that to get around it, right? It's a big monumental thing. But modern women, the cosmopolitan women, Christian or not, will do it. I don't think their marriages stand on much, because if they're not willing to do what the men ask, then what worth is it? Because we're not, and the men have to love their wives, right? I would say the same thing. Men submit to the church first off. So if you're like saying, "Oh, my wife, you need to submit to me," like, are you submitting to your church? Because your church, other men in the church like you were saying, would totally police the guy if he was not treating his wife well.
Yeah.
They'd take him on a fishing trip and give him a talking to.
Yeah, or out hunting in the woods, get those big old rifles, shoot a buck.
Yeah, you get exiled from the church, you wouldn't get shot, but yes, I see the sentiment. I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway,
as soon as women are willing to meet social expectations, and social expectations are at least 50% derived from men, then you can be treated like ladies. Until then, you get to be treated otherwise.
Yeah, I think the social expectations for women, and also the getting women to become, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, where it's sort of like you stop being one-dimensional, be a full-fledged character. It's something in like literature and stuff, you know what I mean, where it's like you're trying to have a full character. And it's a lot of it is given through hardship and, you know, struggle and things of that nature. And I feel like women need that, and it's not being.
Well, the struggle is not existent anymore because we're living in material abundance, right?
Yeah.
And the second struggle that you can go through, though, is a struggle for meaning. But there's so much opiate out there, especially with social media and such. Like and you could tell the mindset of these ladies sometimes too, because I'll point out a thing that's true and they just reject it. It's like they don't see it, or they'll make up a point and argue against it and not actually engage with what I'm saying.
Even to some degree, the sex is an opiate, you know.
That's true too. I mean, it's a placeholder for acceptance for a lot of ladies. Like they think that tells them how valuable they are, but really they're in the. I'm just gonna bring it up again. How do I? Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. I'm being they're in the BBZ zone, right? They think that men like them. They think that men like them, but they just like the men like parts of you. That's it. And they think this is social acceptance. They think they're on the right track. I don't get lots of guys like me. Lots of guys like, no, they don't. They like parts of you.
Yeah.
They would be happy. They would be much happier to have those same parts on a different woman who was more mentally up here, right? They'd be happier with that. They'd be happier with someone who wasn't you, is what that is. When a man is not willing to commit, what he's saying is, I'd be happier with someone else. Don't get it twisted. Just because he's using you, don't think for a second that you're accepted or anybody. You're nobody. You're nobody until he is willing to put a ring on it or something. Something, for goodness sakes. So don't get it twisted, ladies. And that's one of the mean tactics I kind of do when I'm on Twitter is like, I ask the ladies, are they single? And typically if they're not single, like they're married, I will see a ring. Like they'll post a picture of their ring because it's really easy to just like pull your phone out and take a picture of a ring.
Yeah.
Something like that. Most of these women are single.
That at me.
I'm sorry, what?
I had a lot of people do that at me where it's sort of like,
really?
Oh, you're single? What's wrong with you? Are you fat? Oh,
oh no.
So on that long, ridiculous post that went semi-viral.
I can hear you. I'll keep talking. I can hear you. I'll be right back. I have to address something my cat's doing.
Okay. So on that post that kind of blew up on me, it didn't go viral. It just blew up on me. One of the things that one of the guys was saying is, clearly there's something wrong with you if you're that old, not sleeping around, and no guy wants you. What is it? And so they're like, are you fat? And I was like, no, I'm in good shape. And then they're like, prove it. And then I took a picture of me on the scale, and it was like 103. And then they're like,
wow.
Well, yeah. So they're like, I think it was technically 102.8, but anyway, so they're like, okay, so it's not that. What is wrong with you? And they just kind of
don't even. The thing is,
trying to figure out what it is. I'm like, sometimes it just didn't work out.
Exactly, exactly. Like I wasn't going to get married until I met my wife, and I met my wife very happenstantially. It was like two bullets just meeting in thin air, just fired from different guns at different times, and just like by miracle it happened. Right? I gave up. I was not looking to date anybody. I was not looking for commitment, but she blew my world, man. She was great. She was so funny, and she would like pay attention to me. So she would pay attention to me as in she'd notice if I was having a bad day, just something I'd wear on my face, just the way it hung. She'd be like, Alex, is everything okay? And I'll be like, oh man, and I didn't think about it. I didn't know. Like it was all subconscious, right? Subconscious. And then she would say, let's go kayaking or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's really sweet. You're like,
Aww.
not only You're like aware of me, my state. You're paying attention to me, making sure I'm okay. And then you come up with like a fun thing because I was very work oriented back then.
Well, I'm very happy for you.
It's nice. It's nice. People who speak red pill manosphere guys, you guys don't know what you're missing, man. It's nice. Love, don't give up on love. I judge you personally if you give up on love. Actually, I think you're kind of detestable. Like what? It's like what the hell? Like you could be somebody, right? If you could just give like a quarter of these manosphere guys loose and actually wanted to marry a good woman, every good woman would be married. But they're over there in their basements, I don't know, screaming at each other, talking about average woman and misquoting statistics because statistics, I don't even understand how statistics work. And I'm an engineer.
I don't know either, and I'm also an engineer. But yeah, and there is something nice to the idea of someone who could be the object of your affection, who will pay attention to you, and you can just love on.
We're not really very self-aware people, right? Like you kind of need that. You need someone looking out for you.
Yeah.
You can't even sniper teams out in the wilderness, right? Hunting down bin Laden are going to have a partner, right? Sometimes you just don't know there's scorpion on your back. I don't know. Anyways, the problem I see with a lot of ladies right now is that they are so comfortable. And this is going to happen. This is going to come to pass where the world stops being comfortable for them and things get really real. And I'm going to show you what I mean by really real.
And I think they, to some degree, starting to get like that with how the economy is. Wait, is that the burrito post? The Mexican food post?
No, I don't know the Mexican food post.
Okay.
I want to take over. I want to take over Slopgate and then have it apply to this body count thing because it's the same thing. It's the same it's like pleasure over metaphysical value. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Also, yes, women, I do judge men who have lots of sex. Okay, I think it indicates there's something really wrong with the guy if he's like banging lots of women. There's a certain age when that's like kind of acceptable, and it's like I never considered it to be admirable if a guy was having sex with a lot of women. First off, I knew a guy who had sex with a lot of women, even in engineering school. He's an engineer. What he'd do is we were in Daytona Beach. He'd go down to the beach and he'd just ask women to have sex with him. And eventually one of them would say yes, and then he'd have sex with them. And he would do that every Saturday. He looked like Mick.
Why?
I know. It's like, that's a lot of time, dude. Like, what are you doing? It's like, but he also looked like McLovin from Superbad. It was pretty great. I mean, it was kind of like watching a handicapped kid win the Olympics. I was like, oh wow, look at you. No, this is a post about women are trying to become passport girls, but men overseas don't have no time for it. I'm Rod, and they're failing miserably. So this is women interacting with the real world. They're out of the American bubble. Okay. This is hilarious. I need to go send this to Legal Mindset. You probably think it's hilarious. All right. American women are looking for husbands abroad, and they are failing miserably because they are too, that's kind of mean. Well, look at my Twitter feed. You think I have no filter, but anyways, I don't think women are hideous, but they are insufferable. I will agree with the insufferable part. To compete with foreign women. Well, okay. Hideous is a relative term. Okay. As a man who's gone to engineering school, there are some women that weren't very good looking that became the most beautiful women in the world because they were the only women in the world for these men in the Arizona desert. Because I went to school in Arizona in the middle of the desert, and I was like, F this desert stuff. I was out jogging and I stepped on a rattlesnake. I was like, I'm going to die. I'm not fit for this. So I moved to Daytona Beach, same school, Embry-Riddle. Hideous is relative. If you go to like Serbia or some other place, like a lot of these European countries, an American woman ain't to quote the minority ladies of America, ain't shit. American women ain't shit abroad. You'd probably be fine actually, because you actually, you're not that way. The way that American ladies are.
You haven't actually seen what I look like. Most people haven't.
Take it from me, everybody on YouTube. She looks great. Get in those DMs. Get in those convert to Catholicism. Go to the desert for like 40 days. Don't eat nothing. Pray to God a lot, and He might make you a Catholic if He sees fit. And then get in those DMs. Okay. Find Jesus. Hit the gym. Don't eat nothing. Desert. Find Jesus. DMs. You have it.
Maybe God will send you the waifu you want.
Yeah, I know, right? Waifu is just one. Well, seriously, I would have rode through a desert to find. If it was what it took to find a woman, I was like, I'm going through the desert. Screw it. Life ain't worth living if you just give up on love. Anyways,
Like, let's
speaking of giving up
go.
I'm out. All right. This woman is saying I speak 6 languages. Okay, whoop-de-doo. I have 2 master's degrees. Oh my gosh. I paid for my international part. By the way, what was it like for women with bachelor degrees make up 90% of divorces? Like they initiate the divorce 90% of the time. I need to look up that statistic, but if a woman has a college degree, it's not, again, it's a statistic, right? There's a lot more nuance in there, but 90% is a lot. So just something to think about, guys. Like Luna wouldn't do that. Do you like that? She wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I believe that once you're married, that's it. I want like no quitting. No quitting.
Okay, body count for men. I know we're not. Body count for men is number of divorces you've had, and take that every divorce you've had. That's like equivalent of 25 body count for women. Okay, so men who've been thrice divorced, that's like 75 women or 75 bodies for a woman equivalent, right? Like a thrice divorced dude. I got a neighbor who's 3 times divorced, old Vietnam veteran. I was like, hey, thanks for your service to your country. You're also a piece of S. Like 2 chances is a lot. Yeah, I was like, you couldn't get. You found 3 people who are willing to marry you, but weren't willing to stay with you. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
and
like,
that's exactly what.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's just he harbors anger. He's like kind of he's an angry boomer. I think boomers are just angry people, and he's a military dude. So you gotta. I've got another neighbor who's another Vietnam veteran neighbor because this is Tennessee, and everybody in Tennessee is a fighting man apparently. And he's like the most gentle man. He left it all behind. And then he showed me his Vietnam shotgun. He says like, oh yeah, we used to just put it on our waist. You don't even aim, just bop, 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 bop. And I was like, you've killed people. You're a killer. And he's like the nicest guy ever. He's just like short, soft spoken, like the Mr. Rogers he's like the redneck Mr. Rogers. It's pretty great. He plants flowers for his wife.
Oh.
And he was using the Vietnamese to push up some daisies back in the day. But you gotta leave it behind, guys. Anyways. So she's saying 8 months and have yet to be asked out on a date. I remember this post when she made it the first time. I was interested in that. So no date for her. Every time a Serbian guy thinks I'm not good enough for him, I just remember he probably makes. Oh, this is really petty. Girls, don't let your rejection turn to anger.
And that's the thing is a lot of girls do, and they start acting like this, and it's like, yeah, there's a reason they're not wanting to date you. I'm sorry.
Well, this is the reason. Okay, this is the reason why I perturb women on Twitter. Because a good woman would probably just stop talking to me. A good woman doesn't even have to engage in my argument at all. Like if she doesn't want to hear it, she doesn't want to hear it. Nobody has to listen to me. Okay, but they don't start trashing me like really heavily. You find out who somebody is when someone's rude to them, and I like to just find out who people are. So I'll just say like, yeah, you're probably single or something like that. And then the ladies will start freaking out. And I'm like, good. I do this with trad women a lot, actually. It's kind of a hobby. So these trad women who are like, oh, gentle, rainbows, pastels, wearing a sundress. I love farming. Love my husband. So calming out here. And I'm like, hey, where's the ring? Like, do you have a ring? Are you single? And she was like, shut up, I hate you. It's like, okay, all right. So I want to find out. I want to find out if you're a Smeagol or a Gollum, and I found out that you're both. Okay, got it. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I just sitting there like all those women that want to be the trad women, and I just think of my friend who was, like I said, doing all the goat clippings. Yeah,
there are no trad women on Twitter. That's my contention. Is there are no traditional women on Twitter, and if they are, they're talking to other trad women about trad stuff. Like she would be following a hashtag like goat care. And just conversing about goats all day. She would not be talking about any of this stuff.
Hanging out with her son, playing with trucks and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, here's another indication, right? Modern women, cosmopolitan, is that the word we're using?
Cosmopolitan, yeah.
Cosmopolitan women will talk about what men should do. It's like they're ordering in a flippin' restaurant, and I hate it. Oh, men need to do this, men need to do that. No, we don't. We ain't got to do nothing but stay male and die. And even now, because of gender reaffirming care, even that first part's a little negotiable. But we do need to, that's all we got to do. We don't have to do jack squat. A good woman will say it like this. It'd be really nice if men did that. Or I would love it if a man did that. Or just something soft like that. It's not a demand. It's like a request. A woman who requests, if a woman requests something, I will jump over buildings like Spider-Man to go make it happen. If a woman demands it, I'm sitting on my butt. Like,
yeah, and that's a real red flag to me because of how women work in general. Like, so in general, a lot of women get upset because of commands that men give them. Because a lot of guys, they talk to each other in commands, and a lot of times you got that really roar of a voice.
Correct. Men, exactly. Men do not talk to women like you talk to another man. Do not do that.
That's
makes
why
them crazy.
Kind of so soft spoken with each other. The only reason I would give commands to a man is I want to be really crisp and clear, and if I'm working with him is like, hey bro, I need this, can you send it to me? You know, but I would not be rude to him. I would not be like, and so for her to be catty and awful in this sort of demanding way, it's sort of the red flag that we see in men. And so that is a huge red flag to me, because it's like, you know better. You as a woman know better, and you should not be behaving like that.
I'm just going to type in women of Belgrade as let's see. All right. Okay. So this lady's contention here. So, all right, ladies have all the ammunition, but none of the armor, if you know what I mean. And what I mean by that is that they can dish out stuff, but they're not always aware that that's what they're getting back.
We're glass cannons.
They're glass cannons, and it's like a lack of awareness. These men are just saying they're not attractive. If you weren't attractive, he wouldn't have gone on the date with you in the first place. What he's saying there is he doesn't like you. Yeah. That's what he's saying. No man doesn't go on a second date because she wasn't attractive enough, unless you catfished him. But that's not because you're unattractive. It's because you lied to him. It's deceptive. It's really bad. Like, I don't know why women think they can just lie to men. The makeup thing too. Like, I've seen some amazing makeup transformations, and I've looked at it and I'm like,
like, it's been amazing, some of the stuff that some girls can do. I'm like, holy cow. Yeah. So,
oh yeah, look at this. Visit the USA for 2 weeks, constantly complimented and asked out despite wearing sweatpants and a face mask. Like, okay, which man do you think is actually worth getting in this case? The one who's just like, I love you, queen. I love your sweatpants. No makeup. I don't care. You're a queen. Ugh, I love you. Or the guy's like, I think it's not going to work out right now. I think I'm going to need to think on it. Good luck to you, though. Good luck.
I like the accent. That's a really good accent.
It's a very good accent. I don't know. This is my just generic Eastern European accent. If I want to go to Romania, though, they got this weird, you know, V.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's V. All right. It's just awful. Like, you've got to get us. Listen, I'm all about being your own self, V, but you maybe consider getting one of those voice modulators that ladies use to play online games where you sound. It might get you to normal. Now,
so I actually like accents, so I'm just sort of like, why? Why would you do that? Those accents are so cool. As long as I can understand.
His voice is just so high pitched, it actually hurts. I have to turn my volume down. I might have to pitch shift it myself. Man, it's just me. I don't know. Sorry, V. Anyways, yeah, so this lady just wants attention. She doesn't actually want, and she's bitter about this. She's obviously bitter. She obviously wants Belgrade. Yes. You know, borscht in Belgrade over here. She doesn't want like American pie. She's like, she just uses the Americans to validate herself.
Her Twitter handle is Life in Serbia.
Yes. Yeah, which turns out it was a single life in Serbia. Fat, hideous, but okay, I don't know if anyone said you're a fat and hideous lady. I mean, that's what you're saying. I don't know how
much I believe this. I'm pretty sure they just kind of saw her like, oh, she's a spoiled American. She ain't doing nothing for me.
As again, like, this is what women in Serbia look like. All right, they're not. I mean, she's kind of cute, mousy little thing. Oh, we like to see her happy. I like seeing women who are happy. The most attractive thing a woman can wear is a smile. I don't like the. These women are pretty. These women are fine. She's fine. Everyone's fine. I don't know, dudes. We don't really have. I mean, I know you guys see stuff on the internet. I'm not going to scroll down too much. I have no idea what I'm going to get. Even the dating website, like person here, for Europe brides. She's not like unrealistically attractive, right? Like, this is not Sweden, okay?
Yeah.
Where it's like Sweden looks like it's a friggin' genetic experiment that got loose for like creating the Ubermensch. You're like, good Lord, I can't. Yeah. I triggered a bunch of people by saying Swedish women are the ideal looking women. Tall, blue-eyed, blonde, fair skin, all that stuff. Like, I'm just spitting facts, guys. I'm just going by the statistics. Like, if you go to Asia and you look at advertisements, a lot of it are pretty white ladies. I blew my mind.
That's interesting. Yeah, it actually reminds me. So I did mention my sister that was in the military. At one point, she was serving in the Middle East. I can't say where, but her and one of her friends went with a bunch of their military friends to a bar. And one of her friends, who was a female, she was the pale blonde hair, was sitting next to one of her buddies, who was a guy, at the bar. And this guy just kind of walked up to him and was like, "How much for her?" I was trying to buy her. And apparently the blonde, blue-eyed, pale white women are worth a lot over there.
Oh,
so yeah.
No, massage parlors.
Yeah, that was when I was like, nope, not going over there. Never.
Yep. No, illicit massage parlors in like Hong Kong, where the triads rule, which my family has some connections with. Apparently we have connections with the triads. I didn't know that. Fucking dad told me the other day. He's like, okay, dad, that's kind of weird. He's my dad is like Frank Reynolds from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's getting real weird at his age. I'm like, good Lord, dad, there's a lot of, like, I know like World War II was a big deal for you guys. And then because my family scattered in World War II because the Japanese were bombing the hell out of the place.
Yeah.
And then we just sowed roots, but because we're really good at networking and we're kind of morally dubious, we're moral gray areas. We're good people. We're good Christians, but we just find ourselves in the gutters a lot. I'm in the gutters here in Appalachia. Like, I have a neighbor that shot at another neighbor, and then they continued arguing. It was amazing. It's like an old dueling times where it's like gunfire is just like the midpoint of the argument. Kind of a little bit. People are crazy out here. There's some people out here that live without electricity. If America ever does fall and the Appalachians have some kind of manic preacher who tells them that it's their time and it's revelation, then they must take over. They probably could take over the United States. Like most Medal of Honor recipients are from this area. A lot of the enlisted people, the soldiers, are from this area. And the place is. I got another neighbor whose dog ate one of the chickens. So that neighbor took a crossbow and shot the dog in the forehead. It was like a family dog. That's just how they do it. They're cold-blooded out here. It's like, dang.
I don't live that far from you, and I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So the girls here are super pretty, though. You're absolutely right. They're like, I was like, dang. If I ever get Connor down here, or any other Lotus Eater, well, I think Harry's got a fiance now, but Connor, you probably land Connor a girl pretty easy. I was actually going to do a WWYD where I took a bunch of tablets, I could do like printouts of them, and I was going to do it live in Nashville. I was just going to film me having women walk by and just like, hey, cast your vote. Which one do you like? Do you like the Josh?
If I show up, I'm stealing the Josh poster and running.
Oh, yeah. I'll give it to you when I'm done. Here's a somewhat used Josh poster. Anyways, what were we on? All right. So yes, ladies learning the international. Yeah. So this is the way the rest of the world is going to be. Like, the world just doesn't put up with this crap.
Yeah.
Now, guys are kind of incels sometimes, right? They're not finding women. The thing is, men rise to the occasion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You just need to get them out the door.
Well, there's no women for them to get. There's very few. It's very few.
Okay, so a long time ago, like when I was 28, so it must have been 3 years ago, almost 4. Carl Benjamin was doing a show, and at one point, and what they were talking about is women and men getting together and how to sort of fix that dynamic. And it was sort of like, okay, I'm a woman. How do I get men out of their basement so I can beat them? Because it's sort of like, that's a huge issue. You want all these women to marry these men so that they rise to the occasion and become men, but these men are locked in the basement. And of course, the response was, break into the basement, kick down the door. And I was like, women en masse, women need to just not be so promiscuous. Because the thing is, men are saying in both the media and in social media and in real life that women are signing up for OnlyFans. There's no virtue there. And so men have no reason to get out of the basement. Yeah.
They have no reason
I am a big proponent of we need to take the hormonal birth control away from women. It's really bad for them.
I take a lot of things away from women.
Yeah. No, specifically.
I'll take away the social media. I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. It's just like that would be a start.
Yeah, hormonal birth control is where I would start because there's a bunch of weird studies. I don't know if they're backed by anything, but I've been hearing a lot about it where it's sort of like, okay, so tell me if you heard this one.
Sure.
A woman who strings along a weak man, and it's like, will she with the weak man? And then she always keeps falling for the jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so one of the studies I heard, which is real interesting, is that because women are becoming, the body recognizes it's not very fertile, so it wants to get pregnant quick, and so what the body does is it falls in love and attaches quickly to the high testosterone man who is
the
usually
chattiest chads of all time.
Yeah, and so she'll fall in love with him, and then she'll break up with him, and then she'll go back to the weak man who will protect the baby. So the biological what's happening there is so the man gets her pregnant, the high testosterone man gets her pregnant quickly, and then the weak man who is beside her that she's stringing along will be there to raise the kid with her.
Yeah, it's pre-cucking.
Yeah, it's pretty cucking, but that's
I call it, that's a new term I just made up. It's called pre-cuck. It's when she's cucked you before she even met you, because now you're responsible for.
Yeah, and so they think that that's a thing that some women are hardwired to do when they're not fertile, and so it's it's a revolution. A biological trait of trying to make sure that your genes get carried on because the body recognizes it's infertile. And I feel like, and so what the study was kind of saying, well, if you pull women off of birth control, they quit doing that. Because a lot of women, like, it's already been proven that if you take women off birth control, their partners a lot of times are attracted. They're not attracted to their partners anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
That explains the skinny jeans movement and how all these women wanted those band guys. Like, you know, the type, little acoustic guitar, wears a little beanie and has skinny jeans. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
a dark day for us, man.
Strong a lot. Yeah. And if you take women off birth control, suddenly they're not attracted to their partners anymore. And they tell women now, if you want to marry a man, you got to give yourself this amount of time so that you get off the birth control and know if you actually love him or not. And so it's really affecting which women, which men women are picking. And so the whole selection is completely thrown off.
And it wastes a lot of their time.
Yeah, it wastes a lot of their time.
Yeah, because
they're fertile years. And so and that's what's happening, they think, biologically, is that it's screwing with women's brains and who they're selecting because the body recognizes that it's not fertile.
Mm. Yeah, so one of the reasons why I also like to perturb women on Twitter is I like to find, so I have a hypothesis that runs like this, is that I think women run 90% on instinct or more, and men run about 80% on instinct or more. And it's a very small difference, but the difference is enough that the discourse is completely different. And I say run on instinct, as in they'll make unconscious judgments without actually listening to it. So I'm actually working on a book with my wife where I'm going to try and explore this. And I'm just going to start working on the book probably in about a month or two. But right now I'm just deciding what's my message going to be. Probably as I'm writing it, it'll change. But the book's is going to be called It's the Way You Said It.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's the only thing that women actually care about. And it's the presentation of it. And the dressing of it, which is why you have to nudge. But there's no number of reasons you can give to somebody that will convince them. Men and women, both pretty bad. You have to have a relation to them first, and then you cannot destroy the relation with just saying it right off the bat, right? So if I actually care about someone's opinion, I will be very diplomatic, and it's going to be a slow burn for me. Now, if I am trying to study you, I'm going to accelerate that process significantly just to see what you do.
You're studying me, are you? I know I'm
No. Well, no, I'm not studying you. I'm actually letting you shape my opinion of women. So you have quite a huge burden on your shoulders here. I'll
try to do my best.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. Any woman I talk to for more than 15 minutes is has a massive sway on how I feel about women, which is like today, I just tested my wife a little bit too. Like I hate to say tested, but that's what I wanted to say. I sent her a text saying, "Hey, what's your opinion of this? Christian woman, like born again Christian in a church. She had a high body count. Nobody in the church wants to marry her. New sentence. She feels more and more ashamed of herself, and she's becoming resentful to the church." And I sent that to my wife, and her reply was, "It's not good that the people in the church are making the girl feel ashamed." And I was like, that's the leap. That's the leap. Because I wanted to study. I wanted to figure out. I never said the people in the church were making the girl feel ashamed. I said they just didn't want to marry her. There's a conflation there that women don't know the difference. If I said, "Hey, Luna, I really don't want to marry you," it's like all of a sudden you're like, "Why doesn't Alex like me? Why is he judging me? Why? I'm a good person."
You're already married. I wouldn't want to marry you either because you're a married man.
Right. If I could clone myself, if I just
clone yourself, here's a clone, and the clone.
Yeah, what's the Vatican's thoughts on clones? On bachelor clone? It's like that's how we get around. No, polygamy is degenerate. We're just cloning these dudes. We're just cloning these. There's these 5 dudes. She's got the Josh model, the 2025 Josh model. Roll it out.
Goodness. I would take him home and take care of him and let him live in the backyard if he wanted to in a tent.
Well, if he's a clone, he might actually have if he was a clone, he might actually have a reason not to believe he has a soul. So you have to deal with that.
Yeah, that would be bad. I wanted to save a soul.
Maybe he'd be like a Pinocchio, or he could be a real boy if you like let him. Anyways,
I prefer the real one. Anyway.
But what I'm saying though is that lost my. Oh yes, the leap. The leap.
Yes, a leap.
Acceptance as a marital partner is somehow indicative of anyone's disposition towards you or your value in society. And a lot of these women are feeling it. They feel like they're not valuable in society because they can't get married. I'm like, no, that's not true at all. It's just that men have preferences. It's not personal. It's please, like, if I criticize someone's artwork, it's not like I'm saying they're a bad person. It's just like I don't like this artwork. Okay, it's so.
Yeah. Well,
I was able to.
When you were saying the props that you gave to your wife, the thing that I was thinking of was, well, she should feel ashamed because she did the bad thing, right? That's
another good point.
And so
yeah,
I didn't feel like the church was shaming her. I felt like that was all internal, and she shouldn't blame the church for something she had done.
Yeah, people mistake Christianity where it's like, oh, I was forgiven, therefore I don't have to feel shame. No, you're gonna feel shame forever. Let's say I killed a kid. Let's say I used to be a ganger, and there was a kid and I just killed him. He saw me doing a drug deal, and I just took my gun, I blam, blow. It's like, okay. And I went and found a church 10 years later. It's like, if I think back to that kid, I'm gonna still feel ashamed. I should to my dying day, because that shame is actually a gift now. You know something about yourself. Let's say you're a lady who slept with a lot of men and you're ashamed of it. Good. Stay ashamed for the rest of your life about it. Not as a punishment, but as a reminder that you are capable of doing things that are debasing of yourself. Like, it's not a thing that, like, when you think of your ex-boyfriends who you should feel ashamed, it should make you feel bad. You shouldn't be like, well, it was another time I was finding myself. It's like, no, be ashamed. I wouldn't want to marry a woman who wasn't ashamed of that. So, by the way, I wouldn't mind marrying a woman who had like, I don't know, 20 or 30 dudes, I guess. I haven't thought about it in a while, but it's like, it depends on the girl. But the thing is, if she's not ashamed of that past, I think she's going to do it again.
Concern.
Yeah.
That's like, concern.
I should feel ashamed for murdering a kid. And if I don't feel ashamed for murdering a kid 10 years ago, what would you blame the congregation for not trusting me near children? Right? On the hunt, yeah. Let's say I was like, I want to chaperone on the child hunting trip. I was like, Alex, maybe you should stay home.
Yeah,
people don't feel comfortable. Like, in other words, it's our right to say we don't like it. Okay, I don't care how forgiven by God you are, because it doesn't erase your past.
And I feel like for something like that, if you are serious about, like, you feel sorry for doing that and you're trying to atone, that thing is earned back by the community too. So it's like, yeah, we don't trust you around our children, but we will slowly try to see if you actually changed over time, and maybe like 20 years down the road, after we've learned that, yeah, you have actually changed, you wouldn't actually hurt our children, but you would be strong enough to protect our children, and we respect you, and we know that that's fine because you've actually changed. Sorry.
Yeah, people
yeah.
who aren't ashamed of what they've done in the past tells me that they're trying to and think that it's wrong to shame them. By the way, shaming, what does that mean? Does that mean purposeful shaming or accidental shaming? Because I could accidentally shame a woman who's had a lot of boyfriends before, because I could say something like, yeah, I don't like that girl. I don't like this other, like I'm talking about another girl at school. It's like, yeah, I heard that other girl slept with a bunch of guys. I'm not going to ask her out. I was going to, but I'm not going to. Like, well, I've just made that girl who was just overhearing me in church feel ashamed. Am I not supposed to speak my opinion and preferences? I'm sorry, my preferences make you women feel ashamed. That's not my problem. I do not care. I literally don't care. You ladies at home who have a high body count, who feel ashamed when a man says, I'd rather not have a wife with a high body count, and you're ashamed of that, that's on you. That's supposed to tell you that you've done something wrong. Become a nun. If you really want to be contrite, you should always feel bad. You should become a nun. Or
Yes.
if God does see fit to send you a husband, then be so thankful of it and leave that life behind. But do not run away from shame. That tells me that you're not sorry. What you're telling me is that you're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you've been caught. That's what it tells me. It's the opposite of sincere contrition. So all these women who are like, stop saying that these women are whores. I was like, but they are.
Yeah.
But you were. But you okay, we'll use the past tense. Like, you're not doing it right. It's important to separate the sin from the sinner. The thing is, the sinner doesn't want to separate themselves. Like, that's the act of contrition and shame is how you when I say, like, I hate the way I killed that kid. See, backache clip. I hate the way I committed murder against a child. I hate that I did that. I feel ashamed every day I wake up. That's me separating myself from the sin.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to help these ladies, but they cannot be helped. If they can't listen, then they can't be helped. And that's why I leave them on the proverbial New York City subway platform to their fate. It's like, there's nothing I can do. I can only get dragged down with them.
And some people just have to hit the lowest low before they'll actually start to listen. And it sucks, but that is the truth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and some people just aren't savable. That's okay. Just spread the message and see what happens. Then I usually give them the message. And my message right now is that men have preferences. This time, actually, women most affected. That's okay. Sometimes you get most... Like, men can't... We're not your man. We're not your man. I can't provide you this. It would be a lie. Like, I don't want to live a lie. I don't want my marriage to be a lie.
Yeah, and living on a lie is really bad too. Like, you wouldn't want to live like that. Well, it's the truth is going to come out eventually, and if it doesn't, then it's going to eat you up inside, and then it will come out. So, yeah, no, living on a lie is terrible, and you shouldn't do it. Like, just all that stuff needs sunlight. But
well, we're running up on 2 hours here. Do you have to get out of here?
I'll probably be fine.
Stuff.
I could talk a little bit more because I know we haven't even touched on what women look for in men.
I know. I'm so sorry. This dominated. There's a lot to talk about for this other stuff, and we'll do this again sometime. I find this quite fun. Yeah. What are women attracted to in men? Okay, so we talked about this stupid graph a few million times. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Where's that?
Okay.
Where'd paint go? There it is. Yeah. So we talked about this one for men. How's that look for women?
Oh, geez. I would have to pull up the paint. So I would say that physical would probably be middle.
There you go. Did it. All right. Physical is around middle starting out. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want that trending upwards with time, or are you? What's the spread on this one?
I'm trying to think. I would say it decreases slightly, like a slight slope down, but not much. Yeah.
Okay. So you'd probably be happy if, like, let's say you met the guy and he's in high school, right? Let's say you met a guy in high school. You'd kind of like him to stay pretty much the same physical nick as he was in high school when he's like 40 years old, right?
Yeah, like we can accept that he's gained a little bit of weight, or that. Okay. So that's why I said slight trend down, because if he's gotten a bit of a dad bod.
Okay, a little bit of belly, but you could probably point it out to him, and then he'd lose it, right? Like he's okay. All right,
so,
mental.
So I'd say mental starts out.
Please say low. Please say low.
No, you know it's high.
Well, okay. Is this for you or for women in general? I don't know if you can
That's
speak
the
for all
problem.
women,
Is this is not for women in general. This is just for
well,
me.
okay, this is directional too. Okay, so even if I put it down here, like let's say down here is like 110 IQ. Okay, like do you want him to? What I'm saying is, do you want him to develop mentally over time as you're with him? Because I would think you would.
Yeah, you want him to develop mentally over time, but you expect it to be sort of stagnant,
Really?
or that it does. Well, the status would improve. The mentality would develop somewhat, but you wouldn't expect it to develop a ton because
Let me throw a shape at you. See what you think. Okay, so it's steady. Let's say here is just date, right? Over here is, let's say, marriage. I don't know.
Mhm.
Okay, date. Hit the date. It's going to go up a step, and it's going to flatline. And then marriage hits, and it goes up a step, and it flatlines. Like, is it?
Yeah, but I would have the mental be above the physical.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Control Z the way. All right, there we go. But all right, so development. But what I'm trying to say is it a slow development over time, or is it like as the nature of your relationship changes, so does
The nature of the relationship.
Okay, so as the nature of the relationship changes, so at an event like we're beginning to go out, he could be kind of an idiot, do something dumb, maybe make one of the mistakes that guy made on that date with you.
Yeah.
And then he gets, but he has to catch up and get better, adjust, right?
Yeah.
A lot of men don't do the second one. They'll do the first one, all right, but they don't do the second one because this. If I was to estimate it, this has to keep going up pretty much all throughout the rest of life, right? Like, especially as you hit other milestones. So, all right. So what I'm seeing here is that women kind of just want men to maintain their physical, and when the circumstances of life change, they need to keep up with it mentally. So that's like an adaptive mental thing. That's interesting.
Yeah. So what we see is what we assume we're going to get. Or at least in my case. So
that is
some
so
women,
nice. That's so straightforward. Damn, I thought you ladies would be more difficult than that. Okay.
It's weird because like when I see a man, it's sort of like how I expect at the end of it is usually the same of what I expect going into it. And unless there's something real big that happens in between those two steps, like he does something really bad, then there's a chance.
Right.
Because we're very forgiving in a lot of things, because if we've decided that we like you, we've already decided we liked you.
Well, I also find that women tend to adjust themselves very easily to the relationship, whereas men really only adjust. This is the problem that men do. We only adjust when something's going wrong. So we've already like waist deep in quicksand by the time we realize we need to do something. It's a problem that us men do.
So we don't. And I think this is seen in women too, because like women juggling hormones, we're constantly shifting and changing depending on where we are in our cycles and where we are mentally.
Yeah.
Men are a sense of stability. So
yes.
Yeah. So
yep.
If we liked you going in, we saw that you were going somewhere. So you're going on an upward trajectory that we liked. And so we're just going to sort of be your companion on this upward trajectory that we think we're going towards.
Yeah, that's what my wife saw. Like here's my wife. She saw me at like 19. Alex, I saw you at 19 and I thought you were just the best and you were okay the way you were, Alex. Thanks, honey. Kind of true, actually. That makes a lot of sense. I had talked about this with my wife.
So we'll expect some of the physicality to go down as you age.
A little bit of down, yeah.
Yeah, but we still cut you out to stay fit, but it's like the mentality and who you develop as a person, we expect to slowly go up on an upward trajectory. Because we're going on with you for the adventure, right? This is we're tag teaming up. And if you're going to be a leader,
and that's why women are so selective in the pre-dating phase. Right? I'm just going to put big pinky, big pink. This is the shopping phase.
And so,
women be shopping. They are. Women shop a lot.
So there's something I kind of think I talked with you about before, where it's sort of like with women, we're very forgiving and we'll make excuses for the man. And so that's when we kind of hit that snapping point where we decided, does he love me? Then it's suddenly surprising for man. Because it's like, where did this come from? But really, it's
Oh,
been building
yeah.
up over a long period of time, and she just kind of was forgiving you for your mistakes, and you never changed because a
Oh,
lot of
I
times
see.
she probably wasn't being straightforward about what the problems are.
Correct. My biggest advice to women is that men are a lot dumber than you think, and they are like children. My biggest advice to men is that women are a lot dumber than you think, and they're just like children.
Yeah,
We're all children. We're all basically. Everybody thinks that everybody else is an adult. It's not true. We're not adults. We're very thick. It's the thing is that men are very distracted and women are overly focused. It's like a weird dichotomy that men are like off in the clouds paying attention to other things and women
yeah,
are like microscope down in so they don't see so nobody's noticing what's going on. Like women are in full on analysis mode and men are
yeah.
in just full on doing other things mode. I don't know. We're like
Okay.
folks usually we focus on a career early on. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to talk about with the physicality was because I don't think a lot of guys understand this, and some guys get confused about it. So there's a lot of the personality that we can tell from a guy by just how they look and dress and behave, right? And so
Really? Tell me about that. Yeah. What
yeah.
signals do you see? What signals are you ladies looking for?
Okay, so before I get into that, one of the things I want to bring up and that you have to very much keep in mind when you're thinking about women is what is the role of a man? He's got to be protect and provide, right? So you're talking about a man who is strong, but you want him to be mentally stable enough that you know he's not going to punch you. Because if he punches you, you're dead.
Yes,
right?
correct. I'm just going to put a bunch of men on the screen so you have a visual aid. I don't know why. There you go.
So
Anyways, yes.
Yeah, so you definitely mental stability is one of the things we definitely look for. That's why you want the man who is confident and smooth and he's very assured of himself because you'd think that such a man is not going to turn around and snap and punch you in the face because seems mentally stable.
This is actually
right?
why I think women like artistic men because artistic men explore their feelings because the deintegration of a man is one of the most dangerous things about him. Like he'll have emotions that he's not even aware of, and then one day they'll just pop up and surprise himself, surprise his wife, surprise his family, and it's just like one day he snaps. It's a bit of a stereotype that women have about men, but it's a stereotype for a reason because there is some truth to it. That if you're singing and you're putting emotion into it, you're actually kind of tapping into what you got going on in there. And a lot of guys will say like, "Oh man, nobody ever cares about my feelings. Nobody ever talks to me about my feelings." I was like, women are not impressed by that. In fact, women find that to be a big red flag. Like if you're having feelings issues, it's not that you don't have feelings; it's that you just are okay with it. Like
it's you can't control them, or you're not okay with them, or you're sort of falling apart mentally, and that's a red flag to us because that means the loss of mental stability means that you may go haywire, and then that means we are in danger.
And that's why women do shit tests on men. That's why women sometimes are just annoying to men for no reason. We don't know why women do it. It's a study. Like you're poking it, trying to see what it does. I actually do the same. I do the same shit test now to women just to see what they do. It's really good tool.
Yeah, and so that's one of the big things is mental stability. The other one is success. So it's like, are they going on that upward trajectory?
Yeah.
It's like, are they confident?
I see.
So there are men I know, actually, two of my bosses that I work with, really, really good men. They're very confident at what they do. And they are just bad at organizing or certain aspects of their job, which is what I do. That is why I got hired. And so as long as you're confident at one thing and do one thing really well, we'll be more forgiving about the things you don't do well because we could supplement those things. But
I see. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's the competence in the one area that can drive them toward success. Right? Is another thing we look for.
There we go.
And so I feel like a lot of women pick based on personalities. And I know that Jordan Peterson talked about this, the 5 archetypes of female fantasy. Or it's like
oh no, actually I don't know this one. Please hit me with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
awesome.
a while back, Jordan Peterson did this talk. I thought it was real interesting where they were the garbage engineers that were looking at female porn on the internet and what they pretty much were about. Yeah. And
okay.
These engineers and how we are. The 5 things they found were the top searches for female porn were vampire, werewolf, billionaire, pirate, and surgeon. Now, surgeon surprised me. I thought it would have been like soldiers or knights, but no, it was surgeon, which I thought was odd.
Well, women don't really understand the battlefield, so but in the surgery, there are nurses. Like I see there that women want to stand alongside that man. They want to be involved in it. So if you wanted to, like a woman can't transpose her. Yeah, a woman can't transpose herself into a war situation. Not really.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of makes sense. So, but it's sort of like there are different archetypes of man that we kind of sort of gravitate towards.
Yeah, actually, I was trying to create a list of this too. I wasn't aware of the fantasy ones, but yeah, I was looking at what kind of things women want, and I say soldier here, but really it's just like strong man.
Yeah, strong man.
But fighter type of, like a laborer is also strong too. Like ladies back in the day would sit on their lunch break and watch men construct buildings, like watch the Teamsters. So the stereotype is that the Teamsters are all watching the women and whistling at them. Women were doing the same thing to the Teamsters.
Yeah.
So people like to watch each other.
But it's so, but one of the things I thought about is sort of like, so you have these archetypes and they are different ways that men behave. And I feel like a lot of it is also driven by what is the woman's past history look like in terms of genetics. What is her father like? How does he behave?
Oh, I see.
And women tend to mimic what their fathers are. So my father is an academic. And his father was an academic. And on my mother's side, my grandfather was a soldier. So I tend to gravitate towards those sort of brain power men. But that is sort of not normal. Most women will go for a man who is, traditionally strong. So they probably would go. So when they talk about werewolves, this was not something that I never understood. Like back when,
isn't it? Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's back when Twilight was out, and it was a big deal when I was in high school. All the people were falling over for the werewolf, and I'm like, why would you want to date a werewolf? That's gross. But to them, it was like a big deal. It was, you want the big manly man. And
that's right. The team Edward versus team whatever else. That's right.
Jacob or something. I don't even remember.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But they're archetypes of men, and they're extreme archetypes, and that's sort of like, you could say that's sort of what women are looking for in how they find success in the man, right? So there's a lot of women who want the big beefy gym guy, or they want
they start here, right? Like this is the soldier is also, I could just put in bad boy, right? That's
bad boy archetype, or like the that sort of big buff man who will fight a fight and will definitely protect you, right? That never really appealed to me, but that is definitely an archetype that a lot of women fall for. Because
I think your go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Continue.
I think your archetype then would be like sort of mentor figure, like someone who's intellectual, someone who you could kind of follow, would be able to teach you. And my hypothesis for all of this is that these archetypes for a typical woman, like the 90% woman solution, is that these archetypes get plotted along that graph over time. Like she will start with bad boy or labor. Like I put these in order for a reason. Let's say a teenage girl falls in love with teenage boy. He's a bit of a bad boy. He's strong. He beat up the other kid. She feels safe with him. She's made him a bit more gentle, a little Beauty and the Beast action there. Now he's got a job at the factory where he's like learning how to work on engines and stuff. As he gets older and older, he's he's beginning to teach her things. He's becoming wise, right? Until eventually he gets status in his community for his wisdom. This is like mentor is like 30 years old. Leader is like 40 years old, right? He's in like leader at church is a good one.
Yeah.
And then after a while, he's in his 50s or 60s, and he's like the pastor at the church, like one of the co-pastors. That's kind of like the trajectory that I think a lot of women want, because it corresponds to the women's needs over time. And this should sort of bleed over. Like you don't want a pure bad boy. It's going to be a 70% bad boy, 30% laborer, right? Because she needs to know that can he provide security and also provide resources. The mentor is like during the early relationship when things are getting serious, like when there's some commitment, and exclusivity, she'll start to expect mentor because that directly relates to his ability to raise children. Once she's satisfied with his mentorship abilities and his patience, then they're having children. He's gaining status in his community. You go from a family unit now to a community unit. And now you don't go bigger than that, actually. You stay in the community unit, but now you're focused on passing it on. Like, you're so that's, and I see this thing. I see those rock stars are kind of like spirituality, but also social status, right? Like, one of the male archetypes I had on here was performer, but I realized that performer was just a cross of these two.
Yeah.
Or these two, right? It was just bleeding in there. So if you like look at a Russell Brand type, he's kind of like, you see this with the Beatles too, right? Like, you see this with the Beatles, that they kind of took on, like, their career sort of followed this kind of trajectory. It's like, oh yeah, they're playing the hippie shake or whatever, being risque, right, and all that stuff. And then it's like, oh, they're singing about, men's issues, like all that stuff. They're singing about life, just life in general, singing Penny Lane, all that stuff. And then now they're going on this magical mystery tour, and they're leading the industry, and they're now people are looking to them for spiritual advice. And my main point of it was that men should be aiming to be the spiritual head of their household, because that's what women are going to hook onto and want in the long run. That's my kind of where I'm leaning with that. But I wrote this 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about it ever since. Like, what archetypes should you be embodying? Because if you try to skip this, like skip steps on this, and that's what college does. College makes you all of a sudden want to be a leader. That is so obnoxious.
You need to start from the ground up. You need to start at the bottom and learn the ropes. And if you jump straight into a leader, there's going to be a lot of things you don't understand, and then the people under you that actually understand it are going to be resentful.
Yes. Like here in mentor, if you're never mentored someone, you're socially, retarded Ray. I don't know. I'm just going to use pig Latin. I mean, you're socially retarded Ray, right? Like you cannot socialize with people because you've never been a leader of somebody. Like, you don't understand the whole picture. You don't barely even know your own part. Bad boy. Like, nobody's going to respect a community leader that can't take a punch to the face. All right. Like, you should be able to like hold your own at least somewhat. No one will respect you as a man. You've failed as a basic man. And you see like a lot of red pill manosphere guys discover this. And that's why they start with like, hit the gym, take Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Some people make fun of them and say it's adult karate lessons, which is funny. Okay, guys, part of being a man is also taking a joke.
Yes. But, well, I mean, that's the thing too. If a man can take a joke, then mental stability, right? It's going to be like he can take criticism, and he's not going to, turn around and slug me in the face.
Exactly.
It's part of that whole thing.
Exactly.
So,
and
that's why I brought up the mentally strong and all that stuff at the beginning, is because a lot of this can go back down to that basic point of what is the woman looking for. It's the protector and the provider, and how does she achieve that? And it's a little bit sideways from what most people think, but that's where it is. So
I wonder how this maps on this archetyped. So women develop through narratives a lot, I think.
Yes.
And they look to narratives that confirm their beliefs, like confirm their feelings. It articulates their feelings, articulates that innate, instinctual, sort of Darwinian type developed survival instinct they have, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to say it, but there's a story that's written inside of women's DNA that men also have too, right? Like, we have the same DNA. We have an X chromosome. They have two. I'm sorry, we have a Y chromosome. They have two X chromosomes, right? So, men also understand this.
And women also, I feel like, look to narratives for instruction of how do we achieve the possible end we want. That's why a lot of women will try to find things, like they'll try to find female figures that are close enough to them, and then try to find also men that are close enough to what they want. And so there's a lot of frustration there, because. So that's why I brought up the 5 archetypes of female fantasy. Is these are the type of like a an extreme version of what the woman is looking for, and
that's what she's looking. Yeah, I wonder if we should start focusing on what's the narrative for what men want women to be.
Yeah, and I feel like that would be very useful. And because a lot of times women in media are very poorly shown. It's what is it? It's the girl bosses and big boobs. What is the like? That's why. What is the female hero narrative? Is you don't see, and a lot of guys complain about it too, where it's like they don't have the gentle woman who is by the man's side. They're
No,
they don't have the they don't have like the Gladriel figure very often, where she is graceful, but she is not like beautiful in the same way of. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on superstar names. I don't really deal with that much, but but when you're talking about those sort of narratives, men feel starved of a good female, and women also feel that too, which is why they get into the gay porn.
Yeah, we talked about before. Yeah,
so
anybody who hasn't, last time Luna was on, we talked about why women enjoy gay porn. It's actually really interesting, and it makes a lot more sense. It sounds like salacious, but it actually makes perfect sense with women identifying romantically with narrative stories and a man's story. So there you go. Just look at the last time Luna was on here. It should be featuring Luna in the title. I think my 2 cents on this real quick is that the female narrative, I've done some thinking on which female narratives work, and there aren't many female narratives because female stories aren't very exciting. They don't sell very well because we make culture for profit right now. We don't make culture for culture's sake, right? It's not like some rich dude who's like, I'm a family man and my daughter doesn't know what to do, and I want to do it for her, because that's a father basically making culture for his own daughter, and directing it and like all that stuff like they used to do back in the day when you'd have patricians who would sponsor that sort of thing. The story I found that I identified most as like, this is a good story for women, as according to me, a man, was Sarah Plain and Tall. I think that was the stories. It's a male widower, like his wife died. He's got kids. He's got a farm in the prairie, and he puts out an ad in the newspaper for a wife. And Sarah shows up, and Sarah recognizes the family is a mess. She recognizes that the husband is not at peace. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. She recognizes that the children are suffering because of it, and she very gently, very lovingly makes everything right. She fixes the home, and I think it's a great story. I believe, if I pop this up, let me look up the Sarah. It was a movie too.
Oh, yeah. My headphones are dying on me. Give me a second.
Sure. I'll be wrapping up here pretty soon. Anyway. Oh, are you kidding me? There's a Christopher Walken was in that. What?
I apologize if there's an echo. Anyway,
so Glenn Close is in it too. No, you're good. So yeah, exactly what I said. That's the female narrative, ladies. If you want to know what a husband wants, watch this movie, Sarah Plain and Tall, 1991.
Okay.
It's got Christopher Walken in it. Apparently, I didn't know he was in there. But yeah, for the male narratives, it's like, you need to be a bad boy first and foremost. So get into a fight. Go get into, like, know how to be in a fight, know how to carry yourself. We got a lot of 40-year-old dudes who are like learning how to fight for the first time, which is fine. But like, ask yourself why your marriage fell apart, and it might be because she didn't respect you as a man.
I do feel like kids in school should definitely, at some point in their life, learn some form of boxing, fighting, something or another. Like, I am very much on that train.
I think every kid who is capable of doing it. I like this point right here by Casavallanos Honestus. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. But yeah, Ripley. Everyone brings up Ripley because Ripley is a really good example. And I always forget Ripley, so I'm appreciative of everyone who brings it up. Ripley from Alien is a woman who is, first off, a woman's main prerogative is to survive. It is a moral good that a woman simply survives. That is all right, because it gives someone else a chance to exist. In Alien 2, or Aliens, rather, sorry, with the Space Marines, she is trying to preserve life. So she's not going on some quest to slay the dragon, right? She is going on a quest to pick up the knight's shield when he falls, and she's now going to fight the dragon and protect. I think if Ripley was the only person on that planet in Aliens, it wouldn't be as good of a story. But the fact that she's trying to protect people, including like fallen men, which, by the way, when you're a man and you do fall, a woman is your best friend. She's the best thing out there for you. That's why these men who don't have a woman, you're like one really bad week, one layoff away from going to dark places. That's like, yeah, you guys need a lot of counseling. I bet you guys need a lot of support. But you don't need an online support group if you got a good wife. You also don't need sex. You no longer see women as sex objects, which means you are just living in constant. This is uncouth for me to say in front of Luna, but after the deed, us men have a shock of clarity, and that's what your actual brain is like. I don't know Alita Battle Angel. I don't do the anime. Luna, do you know Alita Battle Angel? You know that Alita?
I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
I think I saw a Critical Drinkers video on it. There's an adaptation to a movie, but I never saw the full thing or really have any awareness. I would not be considered a real fan. Tertiary exposure at best. But like, women protect and men kind of pursue, I guess is what I'd say. Like, it would not be if a woman pursued the dragon, you'd be wondering like, why is she putting herself in danger like that? How irresponsible. And that's exactly what you think. But when push comes to shove and when the village is under attack, like here's a good movie. Okay, let's say let's say you're a Russian village and all of the men have been injured by a Viking raid, and some of the men and a lot of the men have come back. They're injured, right? They can't fight.
Yeah.
There's a couple of men who still can, and there's like one Viking that is defected, right? He's decided he takes pity on these men or something like that. And now this one Viking who is well and a bunch of injured Russian men have to prep the Russian women to defend the village. And it's sort of a we can do it kind of thing, like Rosie the Riveter, we can do it. Because women are only supposed to do this sort of stuff if the men can't. Now, if the men can do it, this is the difference between a villainous woman and a good woman. Because a good woman does it because she has to, and a villainous woman has to do it.
Oh, well, that was the archetype of what's her name, Lord of the Rings, the niece of King Theoden, Eowyn.
Eowyn, yeah.
Yeah. And they talked about her too, where it's like she was the Shield Maiden. She killed the Witch King because no man could kill him.
Right.
But,
only fights because she must. She is brave in the face of death, of pretty much certain death. And this is another real life example of the Onabushi in Japanese history. They're female samurais. By the way, the female samurais, if their husband died in battle, the woman would kill herself. So she had skin in the game. Respect. Because I don't like how Western culture just sends men off to die, and it's like the women are like, oh well. The women are like, oh no, women most affected. All the men are dead.
I really hate this mentality a lot of men have that they feel like they're worthless. It drives me up a wall, and then I feel like a lot of times
a lot of women make us feel that way.
That later. You know, it's like they look at women and then be like, well, now you're worthless. And I'm like, you were never worthless. And I hate that you feel that way about yourself.
It's the way, I mean, it's public school makes you feel that way. Like the entire institution devalues men completely because it forces you to sit still. Basically, they treat men like defective women. They treat men as if they're defective.
I hated school so much. I was good at school. I hated school.
Everybody hates school. It's a terrible institution. I encourage everybody to just drop out and get a GED because they can't. Yeah, none of it really matters. I made it through
school and I went through college, but God, I hated it.
Yeah, men want to be doing something else. I like shop class. That was my favorite class. That was all I lived for.
Yeah, I had a good shop teacher. I feel like men should, number one, they should have some sort of fighting class that they do in PE. Like wrestling or jujitsu or whatever.
Modernity would never let that happen. Modernity would never let that happen. No, like pudgy-faced bureaucrat, woman administrator would ever allow that. They have a zero tolerance policy, for goodness sake. It's just like, Let them fight once in a while.
I kind of am on the train of the Lotus Eaters where they were talking about women's schools and boys and girls schools should be separate.
Oh yeah.
And you should make the boys' schools be very much hands-on. You should have them sitting in their seats with an engine in front of them and let them take it apart and put it back together. Same with guns. Same with, whatever.
Men love machines.
Thing.
Men love machines. Like the
Yeah, machines. Not just that, but wood shop. Because almost every guy I know is interested in wood shop, and they got like their blocks of wood in the backyard, and they're sitting there with their sanders or whatever. Like,
well, one of the things that public school teaches, and also pop culture, I see Casavalinus Honestus. I'll get better at saying that. Is that pop culture and public school tells boys they have to listen to women. This is going to sound really bad, but men, you don't have to listen to women, like, at all, really. Like, unless they're your boss.
Really bad women. If they're really bad women, you can ignore them.
No, yeah, disregard. That's why like my Twitter is just me being toxic, because it's like, this is what you get. I don't care. Like, I never say that to Luna. I never do that because Luna's a lady. Luna's a proper lady. Never. Yeah, exactly. Like, the first thing you have to do is categorize and stratify the fairer sex, because if you don't, you're just going to start treating all of the women badly.
Yeah.
So if you want to treat Luna nice, you got like dumpster dive ladies down here. They're the dock walkers. Okay. You don't have to listen to them. If you see them, you can just kick them. No one's going to care. And they would do it to you too, because they're of that quality. Right.
Yeah.
And you start working your way up until you have like the noble ladies, like the Tilda Swinton looking types out there. Right. Like the people of royal blood who are almost sacred in their beauty, in their fairness, in all things.
They're the Galadriels of the world.
Yep, and you don't even look them in the eye, right? So I've seen those women before. You know those women. The thing is, you don't have to listen to women at all. And as a matter of fact, listening to women is probably the dumbest thing you could possibly do, because all cosmopolitan women do is lie. They lie to themselves about what they want. They lie to themselves about what they deserve. They lie to you about what you should be. They're addicted to wine and Xanax. They're addicted to social media. They are drug addicts. They are the lowest of the low. Don't have to worry about what they think. Really no one's listening to them. The bracelet jangling, like HR cosmopolitan ladies are. Listen to your boss. Listen to good women. Good women will have your best interests at heart, right? They're able to do that. They're able to empathize. Women who see you as an economic unit, just see them as a sexual unit if you want to see them at all. I would suggest not. Just don't see them at all.
Yeah, it's not good for you, especially because it's like the spice thing where it's like you have too much sex and then that means nothing. Yeah. You don't burn yourself out.
Don't
burn yourself out, especially on such women. Like,
save yourself for a nice lady like Luna.
Yay. Okay.
She'll actually appreciate it, and she won't break your heart. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So I kind of want to get back to the what women see in men.
Yes.
So if you wanted to pull up those images of the guys, I can probably try to give you some sort of guidance on some of what we're looking at. If you want to.
All right. Let me just put up men's fashion. I'll just put up men's fashion. I'll go back to the one I had before. Okay.
All
right. What have we been looking for?
Okay. Pull up any picture.
Oh gosh, what's this? Oh, let's get one with a head. Let's get a head.
Yeah, let's get one with a head.
Boom! Oh, look at that. It's looking pretty good.
Okay.
No homo.
So what I'm saying here is someone who may love himself a little too much. You'd have to talk to him first. Like he's
okay.
He is definitely dressed well. You can see how well his hair is. How his face is well groomed. You see that smolder on his face? It's smolder. He loves himself a little too much.
He's smarmy. He's smarming it up pretty good.
Yeah, so he's probably not someone who's going to stick around.
Also, indicators of wealth. Men tend to stop. We stopped focusing on a lot of the clothes, but watches, and shoes have remained very expensive. So if you want to see what he's going to splurge on, check his watch.
Yeah, that shirt's a high quality shirt.
I like the triple buttons. That's nice.
The whole attire is very well put together. It's very classic. So, assuming he is not a complete douchebag, if you actually
douche him, yeah,
then he would probably be a winner because he's physically fit, but he's not too much. Like, so he's not sitting there big honking barbells. This is his entire life, is because that's also a sign that he loves himself a little too much.
Oh yeah. I noticed that a lot of women don't go for the really super fit Giga Chad dudes.
Yeah,
they kind of like it. Yeah, a lot of women like a guy who's got some muscle, some bulk, but not like that level of definition. Yeah. Okay.
So, and I think that too much bulk also kind of slows you down too when you're actually talking about fighting and stuff. So yeah, this would, except for the look on his face, that gives it away. That gives away that he's a narcissist, probably, and he ain't going to stick around. He's going to be looking for a one-night stand.
Yeah, but look how impressed you'd be if you found out that he was actually the heart of a poet. You'd be like, oh, I had you figured all wrong, right? Like, women love that when it's like a guy kind of defies expectations. I hear this all the time where women are like, when I first met him, oh, I just hated him. And then she gets to know him a bit and she's like falling in love. It's cute.
Heart of the poet, not so much for me, but yeah, I could, but he would be some girl's definite winner. So pick someone else.
All right, let's grab this random Indian fella. Why am I looking at that screen? This is the Scratch screen. New tab. Oh, it's a lot of resolution. There we go.
That is an interesting combination of orange and jeans.
It's a bit pumpkin-y, yeah.
It's a bit pumpkin-y. And he's got the glasses. It's sort of like he wants to have a fashion sense, but he doesn't understand fashion.
Women can find that endearing, right?
Yeah, we kind of find that a little bit endearing. So
we're not expected to know fashion, so maybe you can help him out with that.
Yeah,
slot yourself in.
He could be endearing. He could probably be a winner. He's well groomed. You see the watch and the jewelry a little bit, and so I'm just kind of like
little metro there, yeah.
A little metro. He kind of gives me a little bit of a gay vibe.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Yeah, and so
fashion for you.
So I feel like he doesn't quite know what he's doing, but he's trying.
That's too funny. He's trying. Oh, I'm not even gonna open this one. This one is like normal looking dude.
Yeah, that's
what do you think about normal
dude. Probably. He kind of looks like a bit of a Viker. Yeah, this is a definite winner.
Oh, definite winner. So not too much in any direction, really. A little bit of a biker.
In any direction. His
what makes him a winner?
Done. Yeah.
Okay, hair's got it.
If you look at his expression, look how he's focusing directly into the camera. So
assertive, like he's looking right at you. Okay, the eyes.
Right at you. Right?
And so, by the way, I've noticed that I'm going to interrupt you. I am going to interrupt you. I'm so sorry about this, but I'm going to lose this thought if we move on. That I have noticed that if you dodge your eyes away from a woman, she will never return your gaze again. Once you've done that, you've blown it. It's over. So I've found, though, accidentally, and then I started doing it on purpose. If I just look at a woman directly, just look at her from across the room a bit, and I'm looking like presentable, she gets pretty interested pretty quick. So screw the opening line, like opening eye contact. Like look at her and just like give her a little like,
yeah.
How's it going?
So it's not just that the guy is staring at you, because if he stares at you a little too long and then doesn't approach you, it gets a little bit
right.
creepy.
Exactly. A lot of guys are afraid. A lot of guys are afraid of that.
And then he looks at you, and then you make contact with him, and then he tries to connect with you. Then it's like, oh, so he's
if he cocks a little bit of a smile and says, "Hey," and then like did his head up like this, like, "Hey," waved at you, all within about 3 seconds of looking at you.
So
5 seconds, maybe they probably seal the deal, I guess.
Yeah. So it's the eyes that are looking direct. It's the calm demeanor. He's not like nervous at all in any sort of bit of his presentation. If you look at his back, he's wearing a very classic style, but it's very casual.
This is really easy to dress like, by the way.
It's really
you just threw a jacket on.
Yeah. Really hard to go. If you do slacks and a nice blazer, really hard to go wrong with it. So.
Let's find it. Men's slacks blazer combo. Try it out. See what we get. Oh dang. Okay.
Yeah. You see this? It's like, what are you saying with that sort of presentation? You look like you're a man who's got a good job.
Don't like the shoes, but I don't like the no socks thing.
That needs some work.
So that's very Florida.
Yeah. if you look at the tops, you look at, probably a businessman who's doing well for himself, it's very uniform, but it's very casual. It looks good on him. It's very classic. You can probably wear this suit for years. You go to a club with something like that, maybe take off the tie if you're going to a club. A lot of girls will.
Women like the unbuttoned. Women like it when you look like you just came out of work, like a long day of work.
Yeah.
It seems like an ideal woman, a woman's ideal is like she'd be wearing your shirt like after a long day of work, like sort of hanging out on your bed, just having a debrief, like coming down from the day, kind of thing. Like ladies like it when your clothes look a bit comfy and a little bit tussled, like you've had the end of the, you're in that state. Because it also tells the ladies that you're at ease. You're not uptight. You're not going to talk about printers. You're just going to just want to relax. You're out of that mode. Have fun. By the way, guys, smile. Be inviting. When you make eye contact, just smile. And then see what she does. Maybe she smiles back. If she does, wave her down and say, "Hey, how's it going? Want to come over here?" And then boom, you're done. I may have gotten you married. You're no longer alone. It's over.
Even if you're a big bearded guy, like even if you're like a big brawny, built like a football player sort of guy, that still looks good on you. Even if you're having a little bit of weight on you, that still looks good on you. And it still looks like you're a businessy sort of serious guy. Like if you have that sort of I'm a plumber build.
Yeah, you got to go Kronk style when you're a big guy, right? You got to be like gentle and playful like Kronk, or else you're going to scare the shit out of the ladies. Because imagine if the Undertaker... You ever see what the Undertaker looks like when he's standing next to somebody? Like he's like this 8-foot tall dude.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's like what us men are like to women. So it's like the Undertaker was just staring you down. Probably feel really uncomfortable. If the Undertaker was like being a little too forward with you, you'd probably be really uncomfortable. Okay?
And one of the things that a lot of guys do is they kind of very much specialize their clothing into things that they like. So you get the guys that wear all the gothic clothing where it's like super. Yeah. And so you're only a specialized subgroup of women are going to go for that.
What is with all these freaking
or like the pink polo tops and they look like they came out of Abercrombie and Fitch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those very specific women are going to want that, not the vast majority of women. Like me as an engineer, I would not touch that with the 10-foot pole because it looks like you are a spoiled brat, right?
Right, yeah. So you want your clothes to send a message, but I think the only message that's really universal is, are you comfortable and do you care? It's kind of weird. It's like, are you comfortable in your own skin? Do you have a little bit of style, but you're not uptight about it? After that, I think it can only hurt you. After that, because it's like, if you start specializing, like, yeah, maybe you'll get it, but unless you're looking for a special type of lady.
Yeah, it's specialized clothing will only attract specialized ladies.
Yeah.
And so you're not looking at the vast array. Like if you want a nice normal girl, dressing up in like, dark pentagrams isn't going to attract most women.
No, yeah. The goth thing gets kind of played out pretty quick too. I don't think.
Yeah, or the emo stuff and all that stuff. Yeah, it does. Or even if you want to look more like, the other thing too is a lot of guys will still wear their t-shirts and blue jeans, and they're
yeah,
and that's fine. Some girls
very
will
low
go
effort
for that, but really, it's like you're still acting like a teenager in your mid-30s. It feels like you're not going anywhere.
I like, for when I'm really trying to be casual, I like the jeans blazer look. For me, that's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, like look how good that looks. I think this man's AI generated. I'm not sure, but anyways, the point's still made.
That is one hell of a man. If he
fitted shirt, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, you're gonna.
If he asked me for drinks, I'd totally go with him.
All right, yeah, okay. Dating advice for men. First off, get in a decent shape. You don't have to be that good. A lot of men's clothing is designed to hide your less flattering attributes. Okay, now if you're looking like the president of the ADL, Humpty Dumpty, probably not much can be done about you. So get yourself into like a decent-ish shape. Okay. All right. So once you've done that, you go to Joseph A. Bank, All right. And you spend, I don't know what it's cost now, right? Like for whatever custom place is around you. But I went to Joseph A. Bank and I bought 3 suits, 3 full 3-piece suits for about $2,000. It comes up to
They're
about 700.
expensive, but if you don't change shape that much, if you stay in good shape, then and you can buy it like late on a clearance, like there's going to be Labor Day sales or
Yes.
whatever. Go down on a Labor Day or whatever and buy some nice suits. They'll last you for years.
I still have mine. I have all mine. I
Yeah.
bought one that was a good summer colors. It was a nice charcoal. It was a light charcoal gray, with that complemented my blue undershirt blue shirt and golden tie. Same color pants as my jacket as you do, and I also had a vest to go with that. So I was ready to go to any fundraiser. I was ready to go down to the harbor in Baltimore for different events. Like, I'll tell you what, sorry. So you get your custom suit, guys, right? You get your custom suit. It's going to cost you some money, but listen, you're trying to get a wife, okay? It's going to take money. It used to be you have to spend a lot more than this, okay? So it's cheaper than it's ever been. You're going to go and you're going to find a nice hotel, okay? You're going to find a nice hotel. I'm just going to look up Nashville hotels. That's the closest hotels I'm at. And I'm just going to look up images. There we go. You're going to go to the bar. You're going to go to the bar and you're going to spend a little bit of money on drink. It's not going to be that expensive, okay? It's going to be like $5, $6 a cocktail maybe. Tops $10. Drink 2 cocktails, you'll be fine. And you're going to just look and see what ladies are around. Okay? You're going to look like you're on business. Just say you're there on business. Yeah, but find some business to do. Even if you're just looking at real estate.
You're not going to tell them.
Well, yeah, I'm here on business. I don't, and say that I don't usually come in here or something like that. If go to different places, find your hangout. And if you do find a hangout, be like, this is my usual hangout. Bartender knows me. By the way, the bartender knowing you, that's your wingman right there. The bartender is your wingman. Become a regular. He's going to know your name. He's going to say, hey, you want the usual? You say, yeah, Chaz, I'll have the usual. And the woman's going to say, this man has a rapport with the people around him. He has some attachment to his community. People like him. That makes her feel good. That makes her feel like people are looking after and you're vetted, right? So you're looking decent. You're somewhat vetted because you're kind of a regular at this place. Okay. And all you have to do is look over and smile and say, hey, how are you doing? That's it. You're going to get rejected a lot, but that's just the price of admission for being a man.
Yeah, and
but
to be fair, like that's also a good thing. Like if you're getting rejected by a woman, that's a woman looking at you and looking you over and saying, you are not the type for me. You're not the archetype I'm looking for. So she's doing you a favor.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good point. She actually is doing you a favor by looking you over. If she if she just keeps walking, okay, that's actual rejection.
Yeah.
Dang, these bars look. I have to start going to Nashville. By the way, I love cocktail bars. I love speakeasies. I love that stuff.
Another thing I would suggest is I like to dance, so like swing dancing and things like that. Not necessarily in a club where everyone's on top of each other and
yeah.
But swing dancing, ballroom dancing, there's stuff I like to do. And so that's a really good way to get comfortable, especially around women. Asking women to dance with you will boost your confidence. And that's one thing for men.
Yes,
especially
and look
if you're really socially awkward and you're not used to it, that's a good place to start. And then it gets you to be more graceful as well if you get into the routine of and it also gets you around women. You may find the love of your life going out dancing, and it's going to suck at first, but after a couple weeks, when you get used to it, you'll get used to talking with women. You'll be getting used to touching them, in a way that's consensual. You'll become more graceful. It is, I feel like, a good practice all around. And a lot of times they are at bars or whatever, so it really brings in that social aspect. So I usually recommend dancing, but there are other hobbies you can look at as well. But
I did dancing. I second this. This is really good advice, actually. I did dancing. I don't really think back on it much, but what you're saying is true. It did actually help break me out of my shell. It's also a really low investment. Every interaction is just like, yes, no, hey, how about you? Okay, no, okay, how about you? All right, yes, let's go. It's like,
the place I dance with also has an area where it's a sign of dance with. If you want to dance, you go under the sign that says "I want to dance."
Oh, okay.
And so, if you don't know who to ask to dance, and there's a bunch of beautiful women under the sign, they're not going to be upset if you come up and yeah.
I mean,
So,
they'll dance with the dud if it means they're not bored for a little while. That's that you could be that dud, and you know what? You're gonna work your way up. So another thing you get to do is look at the men who are there and who are being very successful and replicate it. You now have role models.
Yes.
Bars look great. Oh my gosh. Man, the lead singer of Smash Mouth just died from like a liver whatever because of all the alcoholism. Now I'm like,
I know that he was sick. I didn't know he died.
He's dead. He was on hospice, 56 years old.
Oh.
I know. Well, it's making me feel a little bit bad about drinking as much as I've turned it down a little bit, but now I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
But these bars do look really nice. Like do stuff that you enjoy. Get outside. I had this is public knowledge. Say what? Touch grass. Touch grass. Get out. Yeah, but no, you got to get outside and you got to talk to people. Go out and get rejected. Like how many people do you actually meet in a week, right? Meet as in what's her name, something that she enjoys, and what activities does she partake in, right? Okay, her name is Nina. She enjoys cats, and she works at HR. Okay, now you've met her. Now, if you don't know those three things, you haven't met her, you have no personal rapport, and you haven't even given it a chance. It's like you had a seed and you're complaining that your seed didn't sprout, but you never actually put it in the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get that far and you'll have gotten most of the way there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I totally agree because it's sort of like and don't just try something once. You probably want to try it a couple times, like try it for a month. Because the first or second time it may go awkward or, you may not know how you feel about it. But if you do it for like a month and you kind of get into the routine of it and then you kind of get to know people enough to know whether or not you like it or not. And then you can try something else like, I don't know, hiking. But
you also see women that are kind of like don'ts. Like for her, these two I wouldn't take very seriously.
I wouldn't
be a gentleman and go chat them up anyway. They're bored. And practice. If they reject you, you didn't want to be with them anyway. So practice pleasantries on them. Walk up, order a drink, maybe look over and say, "Hey girls, what are you girls having? Like, what's good here?" Say like, "What's good here?" No one's gonna scoff and run away if you say that, okay? And if they look you up and down and they're like, "You're looking pretty good here," and then I'll be like, also, "Hey, listen, ladies, like, listen, I'm not."
If they're cougars and they're like 20 years older than you, if you're like some 20 something and these are like ladies in their 40s or 50s, and you just tell them, "Hey, I'm really new to this. Can you help me out? What are some things that you..."
Oh, that's true. The ladies do kind of come in.
Sometimes they'll mommy you and they'll give you advice. And a lot of times it's good advice.
I find a lot of people just don't try. Like, this is a matter of public record, but I've had a conversation with someone for hours just trying to convince them to go to a park and like just go talk to people. And this person's like, "I can't find anybody. I can't find anybody." And I'm like,
I like to go to festivals. I didn't know there was a lot in town, but I started to find the festivals in town and I went to them and I had lots of fun. And if I just buy one or two things at the festival, then I feel like I've come out here and, I didn't waste my time.
I really want to make a Moscow Mule. I have everything in my house to make my own ginger beer. I should really do that. It's just ginger, limes, some sugars, whichever sugar you want, whether it's molasses or just raw sugar, and champagne yeast. And it only takes a day. It only has to bubble for a day and then it's ready to go. But I just haven't done it. I don't know. I should do it this weekend. I've been kind of busy. But I love a mule, man. I love a Moscow Mule. I love a bourbon mule.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, go out and have fun, guys. Women want to be with a good dude that's having fun. Learn how to have fun. Most men don't know how to have freaking fun anymore. Yeah. You guys are so boring and uptight and nervous. You're like a bunch of women. Stop being women don't want to be with other women, okay? Most women are not lesbians. Women aren't watching lesbian porn.
It's like, don't think of yourself as worthless. You are not worthless, and that's gonna just drill you into the ground and make you fail.
And if you are feeling worthless and you can't get out of that feeling, I actually have because I felt worthless when I was young. Okay, let's say that your life doesn't matter. All right, you died tomorrow, no one would notice. Okay, you could be sad about that. You can also think to yourself, well, I'm truly free.
You
There are
got
no
nothing to lose.
expectations of exactly. I'm just gonna live it up. Like just say to the world, listen, world, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. I'm doing whatever I want. And if I'm just gonna dance the bar with like shit on my head with a Moscow Mule in my hand, I'm doing it. And you know what? You're effing weird because women don't make any freaking sense. Women would probably start dancing with you. Like if you just started dancing, they'd probably just join you. If you look like you're having fun, women will do any sort of dumb stuff. Okay, it's just the way we are. Like women are very social creatures, and if you just have fun, women will want to talk to you. Like have a smile. Same thing I tell women. Like have a freaking smile. Oh my god! Like everyone's so. It's bad when like engineers are giving social advice, but that's where Gen Z is. Right.
It's so true though.
It's so bad. It's like you guys cannot. Like go and have some fun with some friends. Go to a meetup. Go to a there's like restaurant tours that you can do. Like when I was in Baltimore, which is a terrible city by the way, but there was a little Italy tour. So we'd hit like 5 different restaurants, and you'd buy a ticket and you'd go in with 20 strangers, which means you get to meet 20 people and go have lunch with them at different restaurants and get to know them. Just take a genuine interest in other people, and you'd be surprised at how much that I had a girl look at me the other day. I was at an army surplus store of all places, and she was just looking at me like I was a oh yeah, thanks Castellet and on Estes. See, I said I was gonna do something with my cat and end up getting a beer. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna be down there with Smash Mouth. I'm coming. Oh, thanks, Castellanos on Estes. I appreciate that. The what was I saying?
You were talking.
I lost my train. Go ahead. Sorry. Are you good? You're about to tell me what I was talking about.
And then I forgot.
Restaurant tours. No, restaurant tours.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you take a genuine interest with people, they will take a genuine interest with you. You get out what you put in this world. I was at an army surplus store the other day, and this girl was just looking me up and down and giving me like the biggest, goofiest girl smile in the world. I don't know. I don't understand why women do what they do because I wasn't doing anything particularly different. I looked like the way I look now. I think I had my hair down. Okay, here's my hair. My hair is pretty fabulous. It's that Mongoloid genetics working in there. Okay, we get the blue spot.
Maybe she was into that. Maybe she's like, ooh, that's a werewolf as I ever saw one.
I just look like a giant Mexican, really. I feel like I should like wear a like dress
Sombrero?
like it's the El Mariachi movie. Like I probably look pretty good in that. I used to play flamenco guitar. Yeah, dudes, guys, I once had a girl who was like way hot on me. Would have probably had sex with me because my beard looked good. I don't understand how women. Nothing makes any sense with women. You just have to try a lot, and you make adjustments if something's like stopping it. Right? You make adjustments if something is stopping you from being successful. But really, it's just try. Sometimes the same woman on a different day will have a totally different response. I don't understand it. It is what it is. Just keep trying. It is your duty to continue trying. And if you ever feel like giving up, ask yourself, why would you give up if you're having fun? If you're not having fun, well, then there's your problem. Have fun.
Yeah.
Women need to have fun, man. Everyone's so damn uptight.
I know. Well,
what are you doing? What are you doing to have fun these days? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of it is like the internet culture too, where there's no forgiveness. They dig up tweets from 10 years ago, and it's like, why would you? Yeah, why would you do that to yourself?
I don't like to make people do a lot of work, so I try to provide them with like lots of tweets they can just look at this week. They don't have to go 10 years back for me. If you want to cancel me, go back like earlier today. It's like, people need to get off the internet, man. People need to get off of Twitter. People need to get off of dating apps.
Yeah,
and
women do not really go on dating apps.
No, they don't. Yeah, no, they don't. It's like everyone's saying like, oh, women are whores. Like all the women that you get. Like I know for a fact there's tons of women that aren't whores. Like I could go outside and just throw a ball in a general direction. I'll hit a woman who's a nice lady. Okay, and yep. I'll apologize. So go outside. If you don't go outside, there is no helping you. Go meet real people. Oh,
I'm sorry,
people in
but
my
the
area.
women in your dreams are not going to go down and bust down your basement door and drag you out. Like I'm sorry.
They won't. Yeah,
it's not going to happen. You have to leave your basement in order for us to find you.
And the thing about women is that if you're looking for a woman, you're not going to find one. But as soon as you're just looking for fun, you're going to find you're going to just be pushing the women back.
Chick magnet. Yep.
Yeah, because The standards are so low right now. This is one thing Andrew Tate is correct about. I've heard. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but I've heard that he does say this, is that the standards right now are so damned low for men, is that you could kind of just go out there. Again, just like this wouldn't have gotten you any, or let me try a better one. This would not have gotten you anywhere 20 or 30 years ago, necessarily, right? I mean, he's a good looking dude. This guy is kind of eternal, but even this is like considered low effort, right? Like this guy looks like he's a cattle rancher from like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. People had higher standards. Right now, it's really easy. Like, okay, let's say you don't want to get the full suit. Just buy the $300 blazer from Joseph A. Bank. They will fit it for you. Okay, get it fitted. Right. Get the shirt also fitted. That's about $60 for the shirt.
Like that for $20.
Well, you can, but they don't fit very well. I mean, you can take them to
but it's hidden under the blazer.
Well, I would suggest you go take it to get altered because it does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Even with the blazer, it does make a big difference because you need this to stay tight. And if there's any slack in here, the pleat, it'll start pleating, and that'll find its way to the front. It's unavoidable. You could definitely tell when it's not fitted. But like, this is just two different pieces of the suit: blazer, shirt. Blazer, $300. Suit shirt, $60, custom fitted. You can get them altered, get bigger than what you need, and then have it altered down. And then hit the freaking town. Go to the hotel bar. Have some fun. See the absolute state of it. State of the dating market. Oh my gosh. Oh, to be young again. If I was young again, I would be very hard to be a Christian.
Yeah. You're saying that, but I'm sitting there thinking, man, I can make so much money if I found a solution to get a centralized place where there's a dating pool where all the women and all the men meet in one spot and can find matches. Yeah. I would make so much money if I got a group of people to meet in real life like that.
It's called a bar.
I know it's a bar, but there's too many bars.
You want a bar, Luna. You want a singles bar. Right, you want to sit like if you've had to pay a membership or something like that, and it was like a real easy membership, but that allowed you to reject applicants. It's like, I don't want creepy dude here. Get out of here. I don't want dude who's had a divorce. Get out of here, divorced dude. You're screwing up the scene. I can see that.
Yeah.
Call it mingles. You want to go to mingles after work? Do a little mingling. That's not a bad idea. So the Mormons have a thing called singles ward where they actually have a church that's just for single people. So they used to bus us when I was a Mormon from Daytona Beach all the way down to Orlando, and all the surrounding congregations would get bussed into Orlando so that all the single people from all the congregations for like once a month would all mingle together. And the women dressed like, actually, I'm going to pull that up again. The women dressed like, all right, pull this up. I said Mad Men fashion. I'm not kidding you. The women dress like this. Pearls and all.
Oh, good Lord. Where would you even find dresses like that? I mean, they're not bad looking.
Sometimes their moms would make them. Sometimes they would make them. Like these women are... So what it did was it put all the women in competition mode. Direct competition mode. So it was looking good, and it was baked goods. Mm-hmm. All right, so looking good and baked goods. And the men were also in competition mode. Everyone was competing with each other, which made for the best outcomes. Now, you had some losers in there, right? Because they didn't want to put in the work. Usually it was weight related. And the weight, when you're out of shape that much, your attitude will follow it. First off, the heavy weight is indicative of your attitude and your self-disposition. Yes. But also, like, being rejected and looked at like you're funny will affect you. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. So
I feel like a lot of those fashions, you would almost have to hand make that, and that's kind of impressive. I can't sew a button to save my life. It would
earn men a lot of respect if like women made something. Like, we don't really care what women look like that much, because also the standards for women is so low. Like, if a woman had made a dress that she's wearing, all the men would be like, "Oh my God, look at it!" And all the grown men too, like all the older men who are like married, like, "Wow, you made this? This is incredible! Hey, come here!" Like the senior engineer would start waving over the junior engineers, like, "Hey, check it out! This lady made their own dress." Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, she's the belle of the ball because she's just impressive. And looks have to be good enough, but they don't have to be better than good enough for guys. Like, Men sort of just choose a partner like you'll do, and it's like, oh shoot, you're a person, you're a character, you've got a lot of stuff going on there. That's great. As I was saying, like looks are up here at the start for men, mental's down here, and then they crisscross.
Yeah.
And if they don't crisscross, then it's over.
I feel like encouraging the mental instead of encouraging OnlyFans garbage is really good too.
I think women are. It's mostly a couple of. I bet there's only a few whales.
Yeah.
Well, the kind of men on OnlyFans. The thing is, it seems that women don't care where the attention comes from. They just want the quantified attention. Oh, I have 10,000 subscribers of disgusting men I would never talk to in real life. It's like, well, good for you.
Well, and I feel like a lot of those women have not been given sound advice either, or they have and they haven't listened to it, because I hear that and I'm like, good God, that means there's 10,000 guys that are probably going to, either fight each other or try to steal me. And I don't want to be stolen.
Dude, OnlyFans subscribers is as bad as body count.
As what?
It's as bad as body count.
Yeah.
If you say I have 100 subscribers, well, the thing is, it's just your relationship is commodified. It's non-exclusive. It's quite gross, to be honest. So men are just as turned off by that. So,
and you're pretty much destroying all your prospects by putting all that stuff on the internet. Internet's forever.
Yeah, dude, it's not. Well, the thing is, I tell these women, and they don't want to listen. I'm like, delete your Twitter, get out of here, because the number of likes. I also like to see, like, if she faces some opposition, how hard does she push back, and does she call in for support? Right?
It's like,
because if she
get off Twitter, go buy a nice dress, go to a bar, meet a nice man.
Some of these women are married. I'm like, you're basically, what's more important? Is it your marriage or your social media presence? Like, if your husband commanded you to delete your Twitter, what would happen? I'm like, yeah. I know exactly what would happen. You wouldn't want to do it, because it's like, if your husband was worth it, you wouldn't be on freaking Twitter. I'm only on Twitter when I'm going to the bathroom or I'm compiling code, or I'm like during my lunch break. Like, there's some days where I'm not on there at all, or some days where I am. It's like, Twitter moves around my life. My life doesn't move around Twitter, and I don't know how these people are online every single day.
I don't know either. Time. I get on to poke boys. That's all I do. I get on to poke the Lotus Eaters. That's it. I don't want a big following. I don't really care.
At least you can admit it. I mean, I'm on there to poke girls, so it's just, I'm literally the kid who's like got a stick and some mud, and I'm just whipping it at the girls and laughing. I'm really just not very developed. I'm for the same reasons. I want to see what the reaction is. Like, what's going on here?
I'm also like the same girl that pokes him and gives him cookies. It's like, want some cookies?
Oh, so weird.
I know.
People are weird. I think everyone's so. The problem is, I see people getting onto Twitter before they've settled their own issues too, especially like you've got stuff going on. I've got stuff going on in real life. There's a lot of people who, like, I don't know, they see a couple of examples of people who met on Twitter and got married, and they think that's going to happen. It's like, that's not necessary. That's very rare.
It's very rare.
And there's a lot of survivor bias. Like, you only hear about the times that works out. And it's like, I don't know why any woman would want to be on a platform that she can get dick pics sent to her. Like, get very famous, and it's like just doing it for a living. So I like to see what people get upset by, and the drama of today. I've already forgotten about it. I'm wanting to make I haven't had a old fashioned in a while. I think I got some oranges, so that's what I'm thinking about. It's like these ladies are like, oh, I bet men are speaking. He's probably stewing. He's probably thinking of a response. I was like, no, I'm wondering if what I want to have a drink. What I have for dinner. Like, because I have a life, right? It's like,
yep.
I like the people who have a high Twitter count but have no presence outside of Twitter. Don't matter. Like, it's just, you ever seen that before, where someone's got like a million Twitter followers, but there's zero presence of them outside of Twitter? Like, that's their whole life, and now they're getting checks.
See, I'm not engaged in Twitter enough to actually know anyone who's like that.
Well, a lot of them are the journalist types, but they're just usually content thieves. And a lot of them are like these weird people who have a Greek statues for their avatar, and they just say,
I've
like,
seen a couple of those, and I'm just like, And a lot of times they either steal other people's photos or their art, and I get really frustrated with that. I know what is the name? G Prime?
Oh yeah, Alexopoulos.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
Alexopoulos. I really like his work. And he gets so upset about that. And I'm like, I mean, you're right, but it's also funny how upset you're getting.
it is a
But
little bit funny. I mean,
no, I
there's
totally
no
understand. If that's your world, if that's what you do for a living, and then other people are stealing your stuff, yeah, I could see where he'd be real upset. And I totally understand that.
I think it's a pride thing for him, because like he was never doing that to make money, and maybe now now that the Twitter's monetized, people are getting really jealous and really territorial of their content, which I guess they should be.
Yeah.
But now it's no longer a toxic hobby. Now it's a toxic MLM.
Yeah.
Was it terminally online? I am loving it. It's a lot of slop, man. It's a lot of slop. And Carl's discovered this too. Carl Benjamin, he's discovered this. So he's poking the bear.
Yeah.
Exactly probably for the exact same reasons I am. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a joke for him, but he's also genuine, and it's also a joke for me, and I'm also genuine. Like, there are no trad women on Twitter. I wish that's what I would say. There's no traditional women on Twitter because traditional women don't have Twitter accounts. Like, you're not going to find her here. So you know, it's just simping. And I love how people started turning on trad wives really quick. It's like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's all fake. It's all fake.
I think that's why it's all fake, and people are drawn to the genuine. And if it's discovered that people aren't genuine, then they feel like they've been betrayed.
Yeah, like Carnivore Aurelius is a woman. Like, that account's run by a woman. And that account will speak in the first person masculine and say stuff like, "Oh, my wife, I would never let her do this." And people are like, "You're a woman."
Are you a lesbian?
No, she's just a phony.
Yeah.
Like, all you have to do, like, your person, like, these people's personality is, I eat meat. Like, it's pathetic. I eat meat and I tan. It's like, okay. I avoid.
It's like, it's the same thing with the leftists, and that their entire lives are centered around their sexual preference. And I'm like, why? Number one, I don't want to know.
Seed oils are like the pronouns for the right wing. I'm gonna tweet that. I'm gonna tweet that.
I like butter. I don't prefer seed oils. I like the butter, but that's not who I am in its entirety. I have other things too going on in my life. But
I'm putting this down and I'm gonna credit you. Pronouns for right. I don't know. I'm just feeling stupid. Boom.
Fair enough.
All right. I am getting a text from my wife. I'm going to see how she's doing. She's coming back from a long trip real soon. I'm really happy. It's been really... By the way, anybody out there who's married, who's stayed this long, if you are married to someone for a long time, do your marriage a big-ass favor. Take a month off from each other, because you're going to learn all the stuff that she does. And as a man, you will probably streamline it, which she will thank you for. But also, you're going to get some appreciation. You're going to shut your gob too much. You're not going to be so hard on her. And also, she's going to now no longer have you around to make her day bright and sunny. And absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Are you guys rotating for a month-long hunting trip with all the guys?
Yes, that would be awesome. Come back with a bunch of meat and stories and photos. And all the guys are telling stories of like, oh yeah, Alex was crazy. He missed the first shot because there was a bird landed on his head. I don't know. And they'll have all these stories about you fitting in. Women love that. Well, it warms the cockles of their heart.
Yeah.
To see you fitting in
that's
with
one
your
of the things I don't understand is all these women that get so possessive of their man, they don't let their man go with all the boys. I'm like, no, they should have some time with the boys. Go take a month off, go hunting.
Yeah, do something cool. That's all I say to the guys. Do something really cool if you want to do something like survival trip, deep sea fishing. I've always wanted to go deep sea fishing. Get like a big tuna, bring that home. Oh man, that'd be good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna call Luna.
Like, you go on a submarine?
Anyway. I'm not going on a submarine for a little while until this shakes out, okay?
Fair enough.
until this whole thing with rapid decompression. Oh my gosh. Or I guess rapid compression. I don't know what you call it. Implosion? Everyone's guts ended up everywhere in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, that is scary. I would not go on a submarine.
I'm not going on a glass bottom boat, like a deep bottom. All right. I'll see you on deep glass bottom, but I'm not going. I need to be able to be out there naked if I have to, if I got a jettison from this thing. And if I'm anywhere near glass and pressure, and if I hear a single little chip, single little snap, I'm out of there.
Yep.
I'm out
Run
of
to
there.
the lifeboats.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my water wings when I'm eating dinner, okay, in the galley. That's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm not going down, okay? Listen, I'm gonna be extra buoyant. You all just grab onto me, okay, when this thing goes down. Dude, the ocean, I don't know. The older I get, the more I learn about it, the less I want to be anywhere near the ocean. It seems like bad news.
Fair enough.
All right, Luna. That was fun. We should do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Sometime next week. I don't know what you want to talk about, but it's anything you want to talk about. I always have a way of shoving my opinions in wherever they'll fit. So don't worry about what I'm going to talk about.
Well, that sounds good to me. Whenever we'll discuss the topic later, but that sounds good to me. Anytime you need.
All right. Anybody who sees this, peace. Thanks for hanging out. Go outside, get a nice suit, go to the gym, get jacked. Not really. Just get presentable. Go talk to a woman. Don't be an alpha male. No one wants that. It's weird.
Yeah.
All right. Alpha yourself. There you go. All right. See ya.
All right. Take care. Bye.